Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ASL Season 19 Round of 24. We're ready for Group F. Bit of a group of death, in fact. Group F. We've got Hero and Action in the same group today. Two of our best Zerg players, and we have very few Zergs who have gotten through so far into the round of 16. So it's a bit scary here, Xun. One of these guys could be knocked out. It is possible. I want to say that both Hero and Action will make it through, but Ssak is pretty scary, and YSC can't be underestimated either.
Yeah, YSC's been playing a little bit better online. We'll have to see if that translates to a good offline showing as well. Ssak has been in the ASL many times, has also broken through to the round of 16 before, so I definitely will have my eyes on him in this group stages. He could definitely perform an upset. Action. Also, some really weird performances he's had in the round of 24. So it's not like a guarantee shoe-in for him getting through. But I would have like almost 100% record on this guy right here, Hero, making it in.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Hero, he should make it through. I'm not as certain that he'll make it through as some of these other guys we've had in the other groups. Like, well, I want to say he's going to make it through. I'm going to go ahead and say 100% he makes it through. Action, on the other hand, this guy, he has some weird performance, and Ssak is scary, man. Ssak took out Light in day one of the qualifier. That's how strong he is.
He's been playing a bit better as of late. Has had a little bit of shakiness in terms of his consistency. We don't always see great games out of him, but when he is playing, he's at a very aggressive Terran that likes to go bunker expand, can find his way into great game states when he's playing his best. There's YSC there. I'm not so sure about him getting through. Like, he has been playing better online, but this is offline, totally different ball game now. He's gonna have to dig deep and figure out how to handle his nerves. He has been in this event a few times, but he's always getting knocked out in this round of 24 stage. Maybe he can act like Scan and finally break through, but it's gonna be such a tall order, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real tall order. You know, the only reason I feel excuse me. The only reason I feel any sort of kind of discomfort telling or saying that Hero is going to get through 100% is because he lost to BCM in the qualifiers. He didn't make it through on the first day. It's showing a little bit of a crack there, right? Maybe somebody could take him out early, but still, that's... we've seen Queen get taken out as well, right? Like, that guy is kind of an enigma.
Anything could happen. Yeah, we honestly don't know what's going to happen in this event. We can give you our best predictions, and I'm sure you guys at home will be somewhat in agreement with most of what we say when it comes to the who will win and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, we just genuinely don't know. Like, we've had so many crazy... I mean, Bisu for getting his Storm. I mean, who would have put money on that, right?
Absolutely. There's been some really wacky and unexpected plays. Mostly the players we thought were going to get through have gotten through, and I think the tournament is much better for that. But I'm really not sure about this guy who's on the screen right now, Action. He's giving his thoughts, Ssak sitting next to him. I think those two players will be fighting for that second spot in the round of 16.
Yeah, I imagine it might come down to these two. I think that there's not much of a chance of YSC breaking through, but I will be a little bit suspicious of Ssak maybe getting the better of Action in one of these games. It can transpire. Action, though, does have like literally some of the best defiler control out of every Zerg. And the map Metropolis really rewards players that are good at abusing Nidus canals and defiler mounds. So I have to imagine if he can somehow get a game against Ssak on Metropolis, maybe we'll be seeing a really spectacular game and Action may be reigning supreme. We'll have to see what happens with who gets who and when.
Well, Action... a little bit of background, got through on day number 1 in the qualifier. He beat Hani, Terran player, and Sue, that StarCraft 2 Zerg. Just barely made it through, though, 2-1 in both of those series. So slipping past on his ZVZ. I wonder if he's capable of taking down Hero in his current form.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Hero did have a little bit of a disappointing finals up against Sulky. Was a little bit unfortunate. That was season 17. Very close series. That was 4-3 to Sulky. He's also been third place many times in the ASL. And he's also got knocked out by Flash in the Season 4 finals way back when. Hero is one of the guys that's always came close to gold and just never quite snatched it.
Never quite been able to put his hands on that trophy, but he certainly deserves a win, and it'll really come down to his luck in these early rounds, and as he gets deeper, his preparation for those strongest of players. He didn't really show up for that versus Sulky final, but that's Sulky. That's a whole different animal, and Sulky of a year ago might not be the same Sulky he has to face this year.
Yeah, I mean, he has won 3 times in a row now. I imagine he's still going to be playing out of his mind. One of the best defensive Zerg players we have. He's so capable of playing from behind and doing all kinds of crazy range of play that's just almost impossible for these other Zergs to execute. But he's maybe not playing his absolute 100%. Like, he's won 3 times in a row. I doubt he's got as much motivation for the glory anymore. It's just going to be about the money for him. So maybe not quite able to perform his absolute 100% max, and maybe just that extra % or 2 of deficit might be enough for someone like Hero, one of these other guys, to win out in him in a best of 7.
I think there's a small chance that he has slipped a little bit. We've seen him not performing as good online, but it's a different animal, like we've said a million times. Completely different beast, online play versus offline. And so he might just come through and smash everybody once again, including these guys on stage right now. Now, if we get through with Hero and Action to the winners finals, that should be a really good ZVZ. We had Action in a ZVZ a couple of years ago, or a couple of seasons ago, where it went to one of the longest ZVZs we've ever seen in ASL history. It was a really fun ZVZ, going all the way up to Queens and Lurkers and all that good stuff. I don't know if that's possible for this season, or for this match, but I just thought I'd mention maybe we could get a really awesome long ZVZ with Hero versus Action in that winners finals. It's possible.
Well, Zerg versus Zerg has kind of gone the opposite direction as Terran versus Terran. It used to be like Terran versus Terran was this super long late game you had to play for each time, splitting the map, and the early game was kind of like, left to reserve. But this time around, not so much. We've got like Zerg versus Zerg, usually like early to mid game only, and now we finally figured out, hang on a minute, we got this mapped out so much that it's possible to get into that hive play. Maybe one player trying to rush into plagues, the other player could go devourers and try and overwhelm him just before the plague research is finished, and suddenly you've got a little bit of a tempo edge to win out the game with those acid spores. But usually the plague is the superior option in that matchup. It would be very fun to see a hive game in Zerg versus Zerg for sure.
Things get really weird when you go into a late game ZVZ situation with Queens. They become insanely powerful. Queens are amazing versus Lurker lines, Lurker entrenched positions, and even in some cases against Ultralists, if we do get that far. It seemed to kind of trend away from Ultras, though, because Queens are so powerful.
Right.
And then, of course, Scourge. You go back into Scourge after Queens come out. It's very complicated, and we hardly ever get there, so we hardly ever get the opportunity to unpack it. But there have been some really great long ZVZ games. I've casted some on my channel, specifically going through S rank ladder play and looking for long ZVZs in order to cast them, because it's just so interesting and so fun to watch. But we just don't get them very often. And there was like maybe 2 or 3 that I could find on the ladder over the last year.
Right. Honestly, it's like 1 in 1,000 games at the most often. Like, it's usually 1 in 10,000 games you'll see like that. It's just super rare, but it is becoming ever so slightly more common in recent times. So there's always that chance that you could roll some critical successes on your RNG dice and suddenly you get a game like that. Definitely is possible. We've seen wild stuff in this ASL already in just a few group stages. Now we've got Group F. I'm so excited. I imagine it's going to be both the Zergs getting through, but I do think there's that opportunity for Ssak to perform an upset here.
If Ssak can take down Light, man, you got to give him a pretty good shot against a player like Action. It's a totally different matchup, and Ssak is well known as a TVT specialist, but it just gives me a little bit of hope for that player Still, I'm really rooting for my Zergs here. We need to even out this round of 16, have a bit closer of a race distribution overall. I think that's better for the game in general. You can see we don't have hardly any Zergs making it through, aside from Group E. Double Zerg there. And so if we get 2 more Zergs through, it's going to be very close to even distribution overall.
Yeah, we do have Sulky obviously seeded in there as well, but it would be nice to have a slightly more across-the-board distribution. You can see so many Terrans making it through and a few Protosses. So Protoss slightly winning out over Zergs so far, but I imagine it's not going to be the case for much longer. It's going to be Zergs that have the slightly more player distribution making it through to that round of 16 once this group has finalized. I'm so looking forward to this. Yeah, I imagine Hero's like a shoe-in for the round of 16. The real question is going to be, is it going to be Action or Ssak that progresses? Ssak has broken through once to the round of 16. He definitely can do it, but most of the time he does get knocked out in these group stages. He's going to have to figure out how to navigate this group perfectly to have any shot at overcoming these 2 great Zergs.
So you're agreeing with me here that YSC probably doesn't have much of a chance, hey?
Right. He's been performing a lot better online. I'm having a lot of doubt that that's going to translate to a strong offline performance here today, is my main concern, yeah.
Well, let us know, guys, in the comments in the live chat on what you guys think is going to happen. Give your predictions on today's group, and leave your predictions in the comments down below as well. No cheating. Don't watch to the end and then leave your predictions.
Right. You're only cheating yourself if you do that.
Yeah, you're only cheating yourself. Anyways, guys, we're gonna have what is it? It's Hero versus Ssak first, or Action versus YSC? I think it's Hero versus Ssak.
I believe so.
Hero versus YSC.
Sorry, it's YSC versus Hero. I know it's Hero first, but it's YSC then Hero.
Gotcha. Hero versus YSC. All right, we're getting into this first game, guys. Here is Hero. I knew it was at least him coming out first. 65% win rate versus Protoss. That is insane.
Yeah, you expect something like that from a player of his caliber. He's an absolute monster, very calculated, able to navigate the decision trees needed to always get into that mid game, usually in each of these respected matchups. But if you really want to do well in this scene, you have to be able to deal with the Protoss race as being able to abuse Protoss as Zerg is so important. You do get some weird players like maybe Jaedong that like have a bit more of a specialization in that versus Terran. You do get, and also like Mong, he's like better in Terran versus Protoss than Terran versus Zerg, but that's usually the exception to the rule. So if you can't do really good in that main matchup of that triangle balance, you're going to have a hard time. So luckily Hero is really respectable. Now you can see YSC stats, very bare bones and only a couple of points on the board there. Much like Scan, hasn't really been able to break through this round of 24 stage. He has been here a few times though. It's just he's never been able to make it out.
Yeah, YSC's stats are really showing the story here. 0% win rate versus Zerg. That's about the chance we're giving him of getting through this group. Stacked with Zerg players. I think both YSC and Ssak were probably a little disappointed when they saw the matchups here in the round of 24. They're like, Terran, or, Ssak, the TVT specialist, and YSC with 0 wins versus Zerg in the ASL. I bet neither of them were very happy about it overall.
Yeah, I doubt that. YSC just getting a last-minute sugar hit to make sure he's got enough energy for this game. I've seen a few players do that. They're like popping sweets at the start of the game, or sipping some kind of like frappuccino or something. I don't know if it's just to get a few extra calories in, or maybe just to calm your nerves with some comfort food. But here we go, guys. We're gonna get into game number 1, Group F. It's gonna be YSC versus Hero on Eclipse. Let's get it on.
And here we are, Hero down in the bottom left, YSC top right on Eclipse. Let's see what YSC can do, boys. He's got to bring out something pretty special to take down Hero. I want to see Hero pull out all the stops to get that early information and figure out what YSC is up to. Don't allow himself to get taken out by some cheese early on. This is a pretty strong map for something like a cannon rush, so watching out for something like that will be essential.
Yeah, you could be throwing down a Forge, about 11 supply here, and go for a very quick cannon rush build. If there was 11 hatch from Hero, I imagine it's going to be overpull from Hero. I doubt he's going to be greedy in this situation. He knows the fast probe scout is likely, and he knows that he doesn't need to take any risks to get an economic edge against someone like YSC, so it's going to be a very safe build order opening from Hero, I imagine.
I expect so. We're waiting on that 200 minerals to see if he throws down the spawning pool or not. There's the probe. Seeing the probe, you've got to imagine he throws down the spawning pool, and there it is. A lot of players will send the probe along the bottom lane to try and get around that Overlord and bait the Zerg player into putting down the hatchery, but YSC just heads straight in. He may be looking at something like a Nexus first, but with this overpool, can he get away with it?
Yeah, I mean, you can technically do a Nexus first here and get away with it. Because of the cross spawns, it takes a little bit longer to get up here and scout as well. Looks like Hero's just going to expand to the third base and not have to deal with any block shenanigans coming down this natural expansion. That is a very good way of handling this early probe harass. With the fast probe scout, you can't really do much else. It'll always have enough time to get down here and block you when you go overpool. So it's much better just to throw your third drone over to this third base location. But he doesn't know what's behind this. Like, for example, this could be a 2-gate right now from YSC, and this hatchery being far away would be problematic. That's why we got this Overlord coming out to this top lane, making sure he can see any incoming Zealots as early as possible to optimize what his lava is going on.
YSC not going to take the risk. Rather than throwing down a Nexus right away, he's going to go for the Forge. Now he can start the cannon before the Lings come out. Secondary probe coming in. Oh, is he going to cannon rush this? Oh, it's so dirty.
Oh, he might.
It's so dirty. He's totally going to do it. Oh, this is some
guy.
This is some filth, boys.
Hero doesn't expect it as well. Hero's like out on the map, like thinking about the next phase of the game. This is the problem with you optimizing for like the mid game. You sometimes like gloss over one or two things that could happen in the early game, and you're in a little bit of trouble. He also sees the cannon and gateway warping in like at a normal time, so it'd be very hard for him to calculate that there's this like missing minerals over here at the third base.
Yeah,
might not be able to be stopped here by Hero.
Yeah. Okay. At least one cannon's going to finish. One cannon's not enough to beat this, by the way. Lings can come over here and kill the cannon pretty easily. He hasn't seen it yet. Look, he's not turning his Lings. He's finally going to turn his Lings here. There's no block on this. I'm surprised that YSC didn't put the cannon behind the mineral patches. Wait, the Lings are going to turn? Okay.
Well, he's just going to let that take some damage for a while and build up a response to that. He's not going to go for it right away. He's going to probably let this second cannon finish. It's kind of weird, actually. He may just like make two sets of Lings here and wait for them to finish and then go in with the other Lings, probably. I don't know.
Makes sense. Yeah, get all the Lings to pop out at the same time. They're close to the hatch or close to the cannon anyway, and just go all together. Oh God,
the
what?
Drones.
He made drones.
Okay, he doesn't even want to save
one?
it. He's not even going to save it. He just wanted to get out a little bit of extra economy from losing that hatchery. He's going to sacrifice it, I think.
No way. Oh, this is
he just can't get up there and deal with it.
Yeah, this is some
he can't.
filthy play, guys. And YSC is getting away with so much here. I mean, it does only cost 300, right? And there's 300 worth of cannons plus 100 worth of that pylon too. So it slows down the build of YSC a bit, for sure, right? His cybernetic score kind of late right now, but it just hurts the Zerg player so much more, man. It's really rough situation. And Hero looks like he's just gonna go for layer and immediately maybe into a Spire. That's a real possibility. He could go 2-hatch Spire, although this drone is being sent out to the center left. Dude, this is a kind of a bad spot for Hero, man. I really don't like this position for him right now.
Honestly, it is very awkward for him to deal with. He might be able to figure it out still. Catching this probe would be huge. That's pretty big deal. But like, yeah, he got one drone out of that hatchery finishing up and lost the other one. It's definitely a bit of an edge for YSC not being able to get that base up right away, though, overall. So I do think that Hero's a capable enough player that he might be able to navigate this adequately to make a game out of it. I am a little bit worried for him, though. It's definitely not gone according to plan. He is one of the better Zergs, though, at adjusting these weird early games, similar to SlowKey. So I do still think he's got a very strong fighting chance in this game, and he is just going to power up heavy straight up into 4 hatch worth of production. It's just going to be a bit of an awkward, unorthodox opening here.
Yeah, he's going to have a glut of drones at the natural, and not a very good mineral saturation overall. You can't spread those drones to the third base just yet. He still will have a reasonable income going forward, but he missed out on a lot of larvae as well, right? That was his second hatchery, and it died, only making a single drone. So much larva is lost. He needs to utilize that, what larva he does have, to get some powerful units out, and so mutas make sense. Right? If you're just going to make a bunch of lings, you need that extra larva because you're not going to be able to spend all of your money, but he's going to...
I actually don't think he's going to make Mutalisks, though. I think
so?
He's actually going to make... I think literally just, like, Scourge into 6-hatch Hydra. Like, I don't think he feels like he can optimize for Mutas right now. He may later, but I doubt initially. He's going to make, like, just a couple of pairs of Scourge. Oh, doesn't quite get the connections on this one. He could have then activated one of the Scourge, but didn't want to, and as both of them could connect, and didn't manage to get that, so instead just let the Corsair get away. These 3 Zealots up here in the third base location will be dealt with, but losing the mining time is a big deal for Hero.
Yeah, this is messing him up even further, really slowing him down, and this one Zealot's going to come out and poke. That's so annoying. Really can't do much about it except for spread the drones to the other patches and start to build up more lings. Oh, a second Stargate's going to come down. Look, he thinks that it's going to be mutas. Maybe YSC agrees with me, but...
taking 3 gases now.
Yeah, there's that third gas on the way. He sees it as well, so... we'll see if he wants to go for that. Maybe he goes into something crazy, like maybe just goes for a quick lurker. I don't know, man. Yeah. Zealots do end up going down an okay trade there. YSC definitely not the best micro on his Zealots to get the greatest trade, but he's done such a good job of manipulating his opponent in this early game. It's still feeling pretty good. Actually, that second Stargate just got spotted, and he immediately throws down that Hydra Den. So, oh man, a lot of mutas pop out here, but he's going to switch that investment immediately afterwards as soon as he gets that information.
Yeah, after getting those 2 extra gases, it has to be probably Mutalisks now. I don't know if it's going to be a full-on Ogre Zerg committal. We're going up to like 10 mutas plus 12 Scourge or whatever, but definitely now we'll be wanting to use some of that gas up. Have to see if he wants to throw down another macro hatchery and go into pure Hydra, or do a lurker follow-up as well. I imagine it will be a 6-hatch Hydra play. I'm not sure if he feels optimized for it, but I have to wait and see. He's going to start trying to pick away at these Overlords. With the extra Corsair count due to the 2 Stargates, he needs to be really careful he doesn't just lose his air superiority right now. So many Corsairs are going, oh no, not like this, YSC. This is bad news bears. Like, he can just split these remaining mutas and actually win this fight now. 5 mutas easily beat 2 Corsairs, and now that these ones have taken too much damage, this third Corsair coming in will not be able to save these others. So yeah, this is a little bit problematic for YSC now.
A bit sloppy here from YSC for sure. Just sending that in and letting Hero get those great hits with the Scourge. Yeah, I definitely should have maneuvered that a little bit better, and now he's thrown away a lot of his advantage in this position. Hero can switch fully into Hydras now, and continuing to make Corsairs. He's going to have a very low Templar count. You can imagine there's not going to be that many Storms available when Hero finally decides to come out on this map.
Yeah, and even if there are, he might be able to just make another round of Mutalisks and go in for the snipes again. He is building up another big Corsair fleet, though. That's a lot of gas YSC is pouring into these air units, and there's no Storm at all. Like, he's only just now building his Templar archives, so there's going to be no High Templars ready to deal with any possible Hydra play as well. Hero could literally just start coming across the map right now and hitting on his front gate, and YSC has to throw down cannons because of how late. See, there's the cannons. He knows that he could just die right now to a pre-storm timing due to how late this Templar archives is.
Yeah, he is very late on that. I think the storm just started and it's almost 10 minutes in. It's about time to take a 4th base here for Hero, and a 3rd should be coming online soon for YSC, but he can't really take map control just yet. Can't really move out against the Hydras that Hero's made so far, and Hero is catching right up in supply. Zealot just slipping in here. He's going to get a look at all the hatcheries that have been thrown down, and I doubt he likes what he sees.
No.
He's kind of thrown away his advantage so far, and he's playing in a long macro game versus Hero, which I don't think any Protoss player on Earth really feels comfortable in that situation.
Oh, absolutely not, saying. He's even got +1 air carapace as well, making those mutas just a little bit more tanky against those neutral flares, kind of negating the advantage of the 2 Stargate. Now, as we were saying before, he can just come up and start hitting this wall. The Forge will probably live, but he'll at least get this gateway, taking Hero down, YSC down to just 6 gateway production. There's no way he's going to be able to expand over these 6 gateways as well, so I hope he just throws down over 2 more gateways now and starts making Dragoons, Robo, powers up and breaks out, but I don't know, man. I'm a little bit worried for YSC in this game. He's only just now getting Storms online. I mean, I imagine that Hero is feeling a lot better about this game after that cannon rush now.
Yeah, he navigated this pretty well. Honestly, it could have gone very badly for Hero had the Corsairs cleared out all of those Scourge and Mutas. If they had engaged properly and with high enough numbers, he could have wiped that Air Force out, and then Hero would have been in a lot of trouble. He didn't have many Hydras at that moment, and the Overlords would have started to die en masse as the Zealots came in and began harassing on the ground. As it stands, though, Hero, he killed off so many important gas units. The trade was so good. Like, killing Corsair with Scourge is insanely good value. It is crazy good value, and it just limits the power overall of YSC so much. Not having enough Templar at this moment, he really can hardly move out. He's gonna start to push. He's looking for those storms. Looks like Hero's just gonna back away for now. He's making lurkers at the front line and backing into a better concave here as YSC pushes forward, but YSC is kind of on a clock. He needs to get a 3rd base online. He's running out of resources here, and Hero's already getting into that 4th base.
And YSC also needs to race up into 2 control groups of Dragoons very quickly, or he's going to have a hard time protecting these High Templars and skirmishing with the Zerg. He's starting to get some Dragoons out now, but Hero's already got a pretty sizable mass of Hydras to use against him. Do see this probe finally making its way over to this 3rd base location. Oh no, the Mutas might snipe this probe just before it can throw anything down.
Nexus. Oh, he gets the Nexus down. Big. That's really big. He got that Nexus started at least. That would have been a major slowdown for his 3rd base had Hero been able to snipe that in time. Well, as it stands, just going to have to sit here and defend this for now. Really can't put it on any pressure to Hero with that 4th base coming up, because Hero is the one on the aggressive. Pushing up here. Going to go for some snipes. Where are the... Oh my gosh, wait, where are the Corsairs here? Corsairs nowhere to be seen. Templar are not enough. Just 2 making their way forward. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
those Corsairs needed to be here.
It's a tight choke, though. There was a chance YSC could bat this back with some good Psionic Storms. Hasn't been able to find that, though. Hero just wants to drive a wedge between this army and the 3rd base location. Has got the cancel on that Nexus. YSC cannot expand. The supplies are also dangerously close. Hero doesn't want to drone up just yet. He's got a 4th base, but he wants to wait until he's won this fight before making a round of drones to saturate that. He will win the game once he's won the fight and can saturate that 4th, but if he risks saturating the 4th, now he may just barely not have enough Hydras to get the job done. So he's still in like macro mode, pumping out units on all cylinders, waiting until he knows that this fight is under control, and then he's going to saturate that 4th base.
I can't believe YSC moved away with those Corsairs there, man. He needed those to defend the Templar, the all-important storms that could have helped him to hold that 4th or that 3rd base. Now he's going to be surrounded on all sides. Hero moves into position right as he comes up onto this high ground. He's going to dive on top of these Dragoons. Dragoons in the natural just getting absolutely smothered in these acid spines. Dragoons here on the left-hand side. They also need to retreat, running all the way back into his natural. My goodness, Hero has so many units shoving forward here. The tide of red is pushing back YSC, and the blue blood litters the ground, litters the battlefield as these Hydras push him right into those cannons. This is a pretty much dead game here for YSC. There's really no way to come back after something like this.
Yeah, after killing that much armor, you can just saturate your fourth and remake units again, and you've even got even more economy than before to finish the job. There is no hope for YSC to win this game anymore. He's about to become mined out, even if Hero wasn't able to bust through and finish the job. About to tap out. GG finally called. Game number 1, going the Hero. Pretty much no surprises there besides that early cannon rush disrupting the ebb and flow of the game.
Wow. Well, that's pretty much what we expected out of this game. It was a pretty decent early bit of shenanigans there from YSC, but eventually he made a mistake and Hero capitalized. This is the difference between those top tier pros, the tier 1 pros and the tier 3 pros. Someone like YSC has a really hard time closing games versus people at the caliber of Hero. Not able to find that closer, and yeah, he's just gone down. It's pretty expected, though.
Honestly, Hero's like my favorite to win the whole thing, both in terms of just me supporting him as a fan, but also I do genuinely think this is his tournament to shine. Like, this is the one time he's probably never going to have to worry about Flash again. And also, Sulky might not be quite as firing in all cylinders as he was last season. And he almost beat Sulky in that finals match 3-4. So maybe, just maybe, this is Hero's tournament to win. We'll have to wait and see, and more of the events unfold here today. We've got Action versus Ssak coming up next in a couple of hot minutes here. Again, I'm going to be favoring Action, but this is the maps I'm not so sure about. I do think this is potentially going to be a Ssak victory. This could be an upset.
Oh, looks like we had some sort of error here. Hold on a second, guys.
Yeah, please bear with us while we try and figure out what's going on right now. There's a glitch in the Matrix, guys. Oh, we're back. We figured it out.
We good? All right, we're back.
We're good.
All right, our next match, guys, is going to be Action versus Ssak. I'm really curious to see how this one goes. If Ssak wins this match number 2, it's going to be really hard for Action to come back. I think he can definitely take out YSC, but Ssak making it through to the finals, or to the winners finals here, that could spell disaster for Action.
Right. Well, I imagine that we're going to be seeing a rematch if Action does lose. Like, I have to imagine Hero would take out Ssak in the winners, and then we'd be joining Ssak and Action most likely in that finals after Action takes out YSC, would be my predictions if that does transpire.
I think if this game goes beyond the 20-minute mark, Action is probably going to be able to take it. He is just so strong in that late game situation. But Ssak might be able to get in there with something. He might have been practicing with some of these really fast, aggressive Terran players to rip Action apart as he's getting into his Defiler.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you have to beat someone like Action in that mid game with Terran. Like, I mean, in pretty much all Terran versus Zergs, you want to be aiming for some kind of mid game timing attack. But Action in particular, he's just so good at using Defilers. You don't want to let him get there. He can even do a very strong crazy Zerg as well. The guy's just got such great range of play in that late game stage. You don't want to let him get there.
Absolutely not. And so what will Ssak bring out? I hesitate to say that he would go for some sort of 8 racks or really aggressive, like BBS or something like that, but really anything can happen. Best of one, you don't want to put all your hopes on a play like that, but maybe it ends up working out against Action. You get a really quick upset. Stats are looking very good for Action here. 56% is pretty high in the ZVT matchup overall.
Yeah. He's always performed pretty good against Terran and Zerg. A little bit more flimsy in that versus Protoss. But you can never count this guy out. He's just such a solid player when he is playing at his 100%. He is obviously not the most consistent of the top Zergs, though. Like, there are players like Hero and Sulky that just have a slightly higher level of consistency. Sark has just been slumping against Zerg in this tournament, though. You can see he's very capable against Protoss, but against this particular matchup, he's not really always been having the funnest time of it. You can see there, kind of just head in his hands, like focusing up, trying to get over some jitters, making sure he can play his absolute A game going forward here.
Resting his eyes a little bit before he starts this game. It's not a great sign to have your head in your hands here before the first game, but hopefully he can shake off whatever nerves are going through him right now. Get himself prepared mentally and physically for this upcoming match. It's going to be intense, guys. Action versus Ssak. What are your guys' predictions? You think Ssak can break through his poor record versus Zerg, or will Action make his way into that finals, that winners finals for the ZVZ versus Hero? Here we go, guys. On Eclipse now, Action spawning the top right, Ssak bottom left. How do you feel about ZVT on this map, Eclipse? Do you think we're going to see Crazy Zerg, or do you think we're going to have Hydraless Defiler? Because it's rarely anything else if it gets the late game.
Right, Hydra Defiler is probably the most cost-efficient thing on this map, but Crazy Zerg has so much potential, especially with this double gas up in the top left. If you can somehow get that base online while going Crazy Zerg, it's insane. You don't even need Zerglings. You've just got so much gas, you're just pumping ultras all day, baby. Yeah, anything can be really great on this map if executed correctly. I hate to see mech on this map. It just turns into a very strange game where it's hard to split the map, and you also can't really do a Goliath push because of how close the ramps are to the hatchery at the third base location. You could just sunken up those ramps, so don't want to see anything like that. It'll take a little bit too long to resolve the game state. We do have a very quick 8 racks coming out from Ssak hidden on this southern lane. It's a little bit far away from Action, but it definitely won't be scouted early if he did go for something like a 9 scout.
Interesting scout path from the Overlord here. Look at where it's heading. It's going like right down the middle lane. And there are some locations you can kind of hide that over, but usually, generally, we see Zerg players go down, depending on how safe they want to be. Head down towards those bases in the bottom right, and then navigate over towards the natural, but Action taking a completely different approach. Gas follow-up here from Ssak. He will be going for a factory afterwards. Vulture is going to make this safe. Once he puts on that pressure with the Marine, this SCV is coming from a weird angle.
Yeah,
oh
he knows,
boy,
he knows.
Action knows. He's going to look for this.
Yeah, he should definitely know based on the angling of that SCV. He does find that 8 racks location. Now, the problem is he doesn't know about the gas follow-up. So this could be a proxy factory as well. Getting the Vulture into this natural expansion a few extra seconds early might not be so easy for Action to deal with if he's a little bit late with that Sunken Conley placement as well. So still some damage could be coming his way from Ssak. Does get the drone into the main base to see the factory timing though, so he won't be too thrown off by that. Has got the drones pulled out to deal with the initial 8 racks. Just 5 though, the bare minimal you need to kind of optimize himself. Does mean he has to delay getting his gas though. You can't really mine gas while dealing with an 8 racks.
He knows he just needs to make a sunken colony here, running by these 3 Marines, and is going to head out towards that barracks. Actually, the barracks has been lifted off, so they're not really going to be able to deal any damage to that sunken colony. Is it going to be started? Can't really start here. Is he going to lose the drone on the ramp? Oh, really close to losing that drone. Lings are going to be made back at home. Here they come down the ramp. There's not a really great position for these Marines. Oh my gosh, the Marines not getting into the bunker. Oh, it's so bad. Ssak.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh no. Oh no. Action really handles this perfectly, and Ssak blunders there in the natural.
Yeah, and that sunken is in time for the Vulture. So this first Vulture's doing absolutely nothing as well. Really unfortunate. Maybe, just maybe he can squeeze it behind the minerals. I just really doubt it. Action probably won't allow that to occur with the Zerglings to block. Really wild stuff. I don't think that Ssak is going to have a very easy time of it. He can get a starport up and get a Wraith, maybe get an Overlord or two, maybe get a drone kill or two, try and turn this into a 1-1-1 play that can actually do something. But I just don't know this is going to work out for Ssak. I think that action is going to be a little bit too optimized for him to handle that.
Yeah, we needed to see, drones get driven away from the natural for a bit, and maybe some Lings die to the trying to clear the bunker, and all that stuff just kind of slows down the Zerg player. However, in this case, he hasn't really been slowed down at all, and Action, who hasn't been slowed down, is a very scary beast indeed. Like, this guy, if he's able to get into his late game without being typically harassed or being pushed to his limit, he is going to be so powerful. So I'm worried for Ssak here. I like the idea that he brought, that he wanted to, get something cheeky going. He wanted to get that 8 racks. He had a nice position there, but he really gave it away with that first SCV. It's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, he's even going to go up straight up into macro hatcheries and just power up on 2 bases. He knows there's no fast expansion as a follow-up from Ssak here. Going to be getting a couple of Hydralisks out initially to deal with the Wraith harass, and then we'll maybe think about getting a Spire online and eventually transitioning into a much more traditional style, but needs a couple of Hydras initially, making sure no drones or Overlords die en masse.
Yeah, he won't be able to get too much with this first Wraith. 2 Hydras here, that's really all you need. At least for the first pass. Once the Wraiths start to get into a little bit of a higher number, you're definitely going to need range on those Hydras. And, 2, 3 at each base. But for now, with no more Wraiths being made, he's going to be able to hold on perfectly. And with that 3rd hatchery as well, man, it just allows you to drone up so hard. He's going to have an insane number of larvae coming out, and his drone count is going to skyrocket here before he takes this 3rd base.
Now, Action didn't actually see a natural expansion because of Ssak building this in the main base to float, so he might be a little bit suspicious that this could be a 2-port Wraith follow-up with Cloak. I think he's even maybe building a creep colony in his main base for a Spore, just in case that was going to be the case.
Oh, he's building
a sunken. Okay.
Interesting.
That's interesting. I think he's worried about Vulture drop then. Yeah, he's probably thinking, I haven't seen any additional Wraiths, so maybe there's a dropship coming.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent response considering what he's seen. Yeah, and look at him walking around inside of his main. He's looking for something coming in, specifically a dropship maybe coming his way, and so he's preparing for all potential possibilities. This might give Ssak a little bit of an opportunity to start to come back, but it's still a very action-favored game. Gonna go ahead and get an upgrade going here as well, while back at home, Ssak just making barracks. He's gonna switch this back into bio play after the fact. He does have 1 vessel, and he will have an irradiate soon to deal with these mutas, but he does not have a very good quality army to actually deal with these mutas coming his way.
Yeah, it's really nice that he managed to snag that Vulture kill as well. Makes it much harder to delay the 3rd base timing of Action now. So he can take that at his leisure, get a 3rd gas online. Coming into the main base now, doesn't manage to get a snipe on the SC building the turret, so at least Ssak will weather the storm temporarily. There is also a vessel out for very fast irradiate. It's kind of like a crazy Terran style, like very low production because of the 1-1-1 initially, but does have super fast tech to work with. These vessels are out super early. Maybe, just maybe, with some good irradiates, he can flip the script. So he is going to be coming into the main base now. Needs to split those minutes. Pretty good splitting from Action thus far, but he's losing so many mutas. Saying, oh my gosh, those 2 irradiates absolutely crippled the mutalist count. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way for Ssak to make this work.
Oh, that was so disgusting, Xun. So many mutas just went down there, making no progress at all with that first attack. He invested quite a lot of gas and his early resources into trying to do some harassment here, but Ssak battered that away. He just flicked it aside there with hardly any effort at all. In action, he's just started his third base now. This is looking a little bit better for Ssak, honestly. The opener was not that great. Action handled everything really well, but because he denied the scouting and he got these vessels out super early with that irradiate, he really kind of mind gamed Action a bit, and now this push might actually deal some real damage. What do we have back at home? One sunken colony, a bunch of lings, and do we have any lurkers at all? I don't think so.
No, he's literally just going to rely on a ling bust in terms of like just getting a good surround on that bioball with lings only. Another 2 irradiates coming down. It's a little bit wasteful to irradiate 2 of these mutalisks here. There's only like 4 in total. There's the tank though. That's a great scout from Action, knowing exactly what the follow-up is. He knows it's going to be some kind of tank bust now. He needs to get on top of these marine forces and reduce the threat while he still can. He won't get much more value out of these zerglings if he doesn't go for this now. He's trying to trade off as much of the army as possible. Maybe get a snipe in the surround on that tank. Wasn't able to do so. There are a couple of firebats popping out. Like getting to basically killing just a few of these SVs may be enough to even up the power scaling a little bit. What he really wants is this tank. You see these zerglings trying to get us around this tank, not quite able to do it. So low that he does get the snipe on that tank. That's pretty huge, Saiyan.
That's a big snipe. That's really going to slow things down for Ssak with this upcoming push, although it's not like pushes that we saw yesterday, the fantasy style with Valkyries and tanks. That's the type of style that you need to get damage done right away, and if it doesn't really work, you're going to be in a rough position. But here, Ssak has a really good number of vessels. He's invested in that late game tech, and so even if a tank push doesn't really work or doesn't really kill Action now, he's still going to have a lot of irradiates to work with, and he can fall back into a pretty safe game.
Yeah, both players are really slow their upgrade timings, but we have so many more vessels for Ssak than they would usually be. If he can somehow maintain the game state with that vessel count and not let them get sniped too much, he's going to have so much irradiate he can keep churning out. Scans the main base and sees no hive on the way. That's also going to be a nice trigger for him, knowing that there's no worry about a defiler timing here. It's just going to be battle zerg mode, trying to overwhelm this army. So he now knows he needs to be a little bit more cautious about how he moves around the map. He doesn't need to just go full steam ahead to kill Action right now. Just needs to make sure he's trading well on the way.
Especially not with the third base still not mining gas here for Action. He's being quite slow at beginning that mining over at this third. Going around the army, he's looking for a counterattack, it seems, heading towards this natural. If Ssak builds a bunch of bunkers here and really defends up that natural and goes for the attack, it's going to be very hard for Action to break through anywhere or to fight this army. He's scouting it now with this one ling. No bunkers just yet here for Ssak. He's being really aggressive with these vessels. Oh my God, please don't go that far out. Oh no, Ssak losing 2 vessels already. That's really painful.
Yeah, this is not good at all. He needs to maintain this vessel count to have any kind of leverage going into this late mid game, just as the late game starting to come online. He needs every irradiate. There's so many lurkers that are currently going for a counter attack. He's going to try and sandbag this push at the front and just dive into the main base and natural of Ssak right now. There's a couple of tanks and a few units back at home, but not a lot. Look at how many lurkers are about to pour into his natural expansion. I don't think the SCV line is long for this world, Sam.
All right, we got one tank on the high ground. SCVs are going to be pulled to try and block a little bit here. Got one vessel up in the air. SCVs on the ramp doing a pretty decent job at stopping all of these lurkers from getting up on the high ground. Meanwhile, pushing in towards the natural. This is a really scary situation for the Zerg player. Can he actually get up onto this production? Same goes for Terran. He is breaking through into the natural. The base trade generally goes to the Terran player if it ends up in a situation like this. Lurkers are going to get on top of everything, but he can send the vessels back home, start irradiating all of these lurkers, and meanwhile this army of Ssak can just kill his entire main base. I think even though it looks really bad right now for Ssak, I think there's still a pretty good chance that he can actually take this game.
absolutely insane. There is a win condition for action where he kills all the vessels and makes all the CCs have to lift off, so there's no scans available. That's why he's so desperate in killing these vessels right now, because then he can just win the game with some borrowed lurkers protecting his expansions and doesn't even need that many drones mining. He's desperate to force these command centers to lift, so there's no more comsats available, and he can kill off all the vessels one by one until there's no detection remaining for the Terran. He's almost got that done, but not quite. Ssak is making it work. He's stopping the Scourge from killing his vessels. This might be Sak's game. This is crazy.
Yeah, there's almost no SCVs left, but it doesn't fully matter. This army is still really strong, and all the tech is gone. There's no tech left for action. You can see there's a lot of lurkers here, but with this number of vessels... Oh, he used a D-Matrix there to keep that vessel alive. That's pretty clutch. Keeping that vessel alive is everything right now. He has to keep that thing in the air. So important. Okay, the Scourge are all gone. There's no Scourge left.
I think he's done it. He's done it, man.
He's
this
done
is crazy.
it. He's gonna win.
There was a way he could have thrown this game if he let all these vessels die. But he's been very clever with how he's moved his army around. Been very cautious and not to let them all get sniped off here. Oh, this is crazy. What a game from Ssak. This is a pretty big upset that we're going to have here. There's just no real way of defeating this army for action anymore. Like, he technically has this mining base up here, and if he had a lurker on the ramp with no detection for Ssak, obviously that would be a game-winning move for action. But with 3 vessels in the air and no ability to make Scourge, he's going to try one last-ditch effort of getting a trade. Not going to be occurring. GG finally caught, and Ssak is going to be joining us in the winners match. Wow.
Oh, that's a unexpected result there for sure. But base trading against a Terran player, it usually does not go too well, man. Tried to stay on battle, Zerg. Tried to fight Ssak head to head after those early losses in mutas. Not really getting the damage and going up against just such a high-tech Terran player. Action not able to make it work, and he goes to the losers match. Uh-oh. Is Ssak going to get through first here? Can he actually take on Hero?
Might.
That would be insane,
who knows? I really don't think he will, but if he does, I'm going to be kind of blown away by it. Maybe, just maybe, he's got enough feel-good vibes from winning that game that he can somehow go all the way and break out of this group 2-0 against Hero as well. That would be really something. That would be like upset of the tournament thus far, if he can somehow pull that out of the bag.
Oh, yeah, that would be crazy. You guys saw his record versus Zerg. It would be kind of laughable to pick Ssak over Hero in the ASL, but after that game, I mean, he's looking pretty good. If he could take down action, I'm worried a little bit for Hero. I definitely want to see him go through, and I still think he will get through, but dude, if he loses versus Ssak and then he has to play a ZVZ versus action in the final game, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You're rolling the dice at that point.
Yeah. Very knife fight in a phone booth kind of matchup, as well as having to do with the rock, paper, scissors nature of the build order openings. Not a fun spot to be in as a Zerg player to have to worry about, especially when your tournament life is at stake and you haven't got a best of series to go again if things go wrong. Hopefully that doesn't transpire. As much as I think Ssak played well there, I would really want Hero to be breaking through right here, right now, into that round of 16. He's definitely deserving. He's definitely skillful enough to make that happen. But Ssak showed a really strong game there, an understanding of the game state. The win condition was very well executed from Ssak.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick little break. When we get back, Hero versus Ssak, that winner's match. We'll see who makes it into the round of 16 first. It's coming right up. Okay, we are back, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Everyone who's watching live in the soup chat and on YouTube with the premiere. This is a lot of fun, guys. We're really enjoying casting the ASL for all of you live as the event is taking place. The excitement is palpable. Look at the big smile on Sak's face, dude. He knew what a long shot it was for him to take out Action, and he knows it's going to be a hard road to beating Hero in this upcoming game, but he's looking confident. He's feeling good. He's ready for this TVZ coming up.
The one advantage he's had is he knew that he had to play a lot of TVZ in his practice games. Maybe, just maybe, he's been able to dig deep enough that he's been just playing out of his mind in preparation for this group, and it's paying off. Maybe he can go all the way now and get out of this group right here, right now against Hero on this map Polestar. It's going to be a tough, tall order for him. Hero is no slouch, to say the least. Like, if he somehow beats Hero as well as Action, that's going to be something we're going to be talking about for quite some time. That'd be really something. Let's see if it can happen. So he's not about to go and jumping straight into it, though. It's going to be Polestar between Hero and StRyKeR in the winners match, guys.
Here we go. Hero top right. Sak bottom left. Hero probably got a little smile on his face after Action got taken out in that first game. It's never comfortable betting your tournament life on a best of one ZVZ. That's that's a scary prospect.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's going to happen in this group. It could be some fireworks, though, with that little unexpected win. There we go, some foreigners in the crowd as well. We appreciate seeing all of you guys coming around the world to join us in supporting and loving this great game, especially you guys in the chat, in the comments. Really do appreciate all of your support, especially on that Patreon, to make sure we can keep the lights on here at StarCastTV. We really do love you guys.
Absolutely. Every little bit is definitely appreciated. Continue going with this game for another 25 years. We certainly hope we can.
Yeah.
Looks like Hero going to open up with an overpool. A little bit interesting there. Overpool on Polestar, and he doesn't know it, but cross map. He's definitely not going to get.
He's worried though.
Yeah, he's not going to get much damage with, 4 or 6 lings. Depends on how many he makes, but okay, he's only going to make a couple sets. He's made quite a few drones here. He's not going to save that much larva.
It's just so he doesn't just die to a BBS or an early 8 racks that he doesn't scout. Make sure that he's super safe and optimized. He's confident in his play that it doesn't matter if he's slightly behind the economic curve of the game. Kind of like how you'd see players opening against Protoss. It just makes you super safe in the early game, even though you're not optimizing your larva. You're about a drone behind where you should be in terms of your economic scaling, but it's not that big a deal.
Just taking the safe route. We'll see if Sak can optimize a little bit, get himself into a really good economic position, or when is he actually going to scout this? Looks like the SCV making its way into the natural now. With the wall back at home, you've got to be feeling good here, scouting the lings coming out already. Only 2 were made so far from Hero. No, 4. Oh boy, making 4 lings. And he's not really going to be able to do any damage.
Yeah, because he's not got a drone scout, he has to make 4. It's like how Zealot likes to play versus Protoss. He won't drone scout, but he'll always make 4 lings to compensate.
It makes sense. If you've got a BBS or an 8 racks coming across the map at you, just 2 lings is not going to be enough to do anything. You're going to end up losing those lings and the game. So making the 4 lings as just a baseline with the possibility of adding more lings to defend. Hero now going into his lair. and a CC on the way for Ssak. So I'm still feeling Sakk's position here, although Hero is not going to be feeling too bad either. This is just what you were saying. He's making sure that he's okay, and he's totally fine going into a game where he's a little bit behind. Factory on the way already.
Ooh.
Factory against this wall. Is he going to float over and build a vulture? That would be a really sneaky play.
Well, the way he's placed it there makes you think he might do something like that, right? It is very possible. If he doesn't make a sunken and suddenly you've got a vulture and there's like only a couple of links to stop it, you're in trouble. So this could be really problematic if this does transpire for Hero to have to deal with. He's doing a little naked marine move out as well, but that's probably not going to go all the way across the map. He knows it's such a long rush distance cross map that it probably won't get there in time, and he just wants to hide the marines from the Overlord temporarily to maybe force out an extra pair of Zerglings here. But I doubt that Hero's going to bite the bullet on that. He's going to just assume that those marines aren't going to come across.
Another really nasty way to follow this up is you could go for an add-on on that factory after you float it over. Start speed and then build 3 vultures and come in right before Mutas pop out or right after Mutas pop out and start heading across the map. That way you can do massive damage against the drone lines, and you completely undermine the Mutalisk attack. He's not going to do that. Looks like just make 1 vulture and head across the map. It still could cause some serious damage, though.
Right. With the floating time of the factory, I doubt he will go for the speed variant. I imagine it might even be 3. Oh, he's going to scout it. That's so huge, Hero. Oh, my God. I can't even believe it, Saiyan. He's going to throw down the creep colony, but it's not going to just barely be in time, this creep colony. He has to buy a tiny bit of time with a little bit of blocking now. These 3 lings already coming back to defend. He knows he needs a tiny bit of blocking to make sure this vulture doesn't get behind the minerals or inside his main base.
Yeah, he should be able to block this. You'll have to pull some drones, possibly. Looks like just going to pull 1 drone off the line. All right, he loses 1 drone. Sunken Colony finishes. Okay. Not the worst in the world. He probably could have saved that drone if he'd pulled it back a little bit faster. And you really only need to pull the 1 drone because the vulture can't target multiple at a time. So kind of messes up his mining times just slightly there, but he does have mutas on the field now, clearing out that vulture. We're going to get into a more normal kind of early game now, early mid game, as all these turrets come up and Ssak starts to transition.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't try and run that vulture for longer to buy some more precious seconds of these mutas chasing down the vulture so these turrets could come online. Now Hero can actually come in here and maybe get a cancel on one of these SCVs like this. And she doesn't get the full connections. A little bit of a miss micro, making all of the mutalisks align to shoot, and all of them always shoot unless you're using manual move commands to force them to align. Even then it can be temperamental. He's going to try and do a deep dive now. He's sharking around with a pair of Scourge. He knows this is probably a 1-1-1 follow-up, and he's waiting to potentially snipe a first Wraith or something here. Eventually it might be some kind of Valkyrie play as well that he's thinking about. So he wants to have these first pair of Scourge just waiting to snipe that if it does come online.
Looks like he's not opted to do that, though. You can see just a lot of barracks, a lot of Marines being made. Hasn't thrown down a starport just yet. May throw it down at any moment now, though, as he starts to push out and forces Hero to respond. Bit funny that he built those Scourge and there's really nothing for them to connect onto, but it might be useful a little bit later on.
Right, he just assumed this would be some kind of 1-1-1 follow-up based on the timing of that factory and what have you. He assumed maybe, okay, this could be a Valkyrie rush build. Wanted to respect that, but no, it's actually going to be a pretty standard bio play as a follow-up here from Ssak. Maybe trying to metagame Hero a little bit in this matchup and keep him guessing what the actual follow-up transition will be. Had this drone sitting up in the top left waiting to throw down a hatchery. With the 2.5 hatchery macro coming out from Hero style, he has got enough lava on these 2 bases for the time being. Does need to get this 3rd gas online in the next couple of minutes, though. Is jumping onto this production line of Ssak. If Ssak lets these turrets keep dying like this, it is a little bit worrisome because he can't just come out onto the map anymore and put pressure onto Hero or force sunkens or extra units in defending. Like, Hero's going to be able to just run away with the game in terms of shaving off the bio count over and over again. So somehow, some way, Ssak needs to find an ability of coming out onto the map, but it's just pure mutalist production right now. And oh no, Zerglings as well. He's going a little bit sulky style. He wants to do a little bit cleanup on R5 with some mutaling as Ssak tries to come out onto the map.
Pretty smart play for Ssak to send a Marine over to top left. He didn't spot the hatch, but the reaction from Hero sending all his mutas up there to kill that Marine caused him to get a little suspicious. He scans and sees the third base in top left, so he knows where the point of weakness is for Hero. Can he get over there and attack into it? Or will Hero find the surround that he's looking for with the Lings? Here they come. Ling's gonna run up and actually get on top of this. The mutas are gonna clear out everything. Ssak did not reinforce this, opting instead to keep most of his Marines and reinforcements on the top of this ramp, defending the barracks area, and he really pays for it here. He's got a bunch of Marines that just weren't able to be a part of that fight, and now Hero's gonna start to come across the map, make some lurkers, and maybe put the pressure onto Ssak in his natural.
This tank push is just not going to be strong enough, I don't think. He's going to have like 2 tanks up here, but he needs 3 tanks really to have the DPS necessary to actually break through the lines of Hero. He's not going to allow that to transpire. He's getting on top of the production. The Marines are stuck in the natural expansion behind the supply depot. They can't come in to defend because of the egg. They're glitched out, and he's sniping the tanks as well. Oh no, Ssak is falling apart a little bit here. This is Action's game to lose right now.
Yeah, Sak's starting to fall apart in a big way, getting stuck on that little egg right there. He's had a hard time really putting his bio forces together and dealing with Hero appropriately. Hero doing an awesome job bouncing in between the production line and the front of the natural. You know, faking out exactly where he wants to go, making Ssak think he wants to go to the main. Then he comes out and clears out that bio army. Then makes him think he wants to go for the bio army and into the front of the natural, and then comes in and clears out the turrets over the... Oh gosh, wait. He doesn't have anything? Okay, yeah, those were not on hold position. That's pretty important. If those had been on a hold position, he might have just wiped out that whole army.
Yeah, luckily the science vessel's now here as well to help these tanks go to town on that beautiful irradiate. But also that's pretty nice splitting from Hero as well, taking very little splash damage on those Mutalisks. Now can come back in and start to support these lurkers and slow this push down importantly. Just making the tank siege and unsiege a few times is critical. Buys him a few extra precious moments to get this tech online. The Hive's finished, the Defiler Mound's on the way. We just need consume upgrade and a Defiler popping out, and we're going to be feeling absolutely fine about this game as Hero right now is doing so much damage with these Mutalisks sniping tanks and vessels. This is crazy play from Hero.
Ooh, both those tanks go down. He actually could have gotten the vessel as well, but that vessel will remain for the time being. The real threat has been eliminated, though. There's no push timing anymore with these tanks, and he will be able to start to move up towards his top left, but can't really break through the lurkers before a Nidus gets online and more lurkers can be sent through to save this location. Hero gonna sit back and just play it safe, sitting on this high ground, waiting for his opponent to come to him and looking for counterattack options, looking to snipe Marines in the reinforcement trail. He's gonna bring together a bunch of units to actually wipe out this force. That's a lot of Lings, a lot of lurkers as well. Maybe not as many Lings and lurkers on the high ground, though. Is there an opportunity? Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's blocking himself. He can't go up this ramp. He can't get up this ramp.
Yeah,
that tank.
Oh no. Oh no, I mean, it is blocking the Lings from coming down the ramp, but that tank is not long for this world. This is beautifully cleaned up by Hero. He even has a great Aspire behind this, so if he doesn't kill all these Mutalisks, they will eventually become Guardians as well. Oh, he needs to kill all these Mutas. That would be pretty huge. Then there's less Guardians potentially to worry about hitting his natural expansion soon. But I still don't know how he's going to be able to navigate this game into a win from here. His mid-game timing attacks have fallen flat on their face, and Hero is about to start to kick up into high gear now, going into this late game production.
It's a good move there to cancel the Greater Spire. Once he sees that the mutas are all going to be cleaned up, gets rid of that. Going to change up his game plan here and try to get this fourth base online. Ssak, of course, going to start to take bases as well. He wants to continue to grow. Doesn't want to get stifled here. Counterattack make its way into the natural. Vulture transition is coming here. Mines are going to start to get laid as well. So this is an interesting decision from Ssak. You know, this is a transition that was very, very popular. It seemed like SK Terran style kind of came back into fashion, but pulling out this build, which is tried and true, I like to see it. He could end up getting some really good value out of mines as Hero tries to push across the map. Look at all the mines out here, just keeping Hero back for now.
Mines into mech switch is one of the most potentially optimal ways of playing Terran. It's just so hard to execute. You need enough SK Terran control to have the map control necessary to pull off this maneuver. Someone like Hero is going to try and deal with this by throwing out like movement command Zerglings to clear the minefields. Try and do his best to cause as much chaos as possible, and chaos is a ladder that he can then climb. We'll be churning out those irradiates on the lurker lines, trying to break through to that fourth base eventually, but look at this counterattack from Heroes. Quite a strong force of lurker and Ling making their way to that natural expansion area. With Dark Swarm, this is going to be problematic. There's only a couple of mines here. We'll be getting some damage onto these units, but not enough. He's going to get all the way up until that mineral line's in.
Oh no, dude, Ssak, he had such a good coverage on the left-hand side. Where were the mines over here on the right? Nothing doing for those mines. Now look at all the SCVs going down here in the natural. Wow, he just barely misses an absolutely massive spine that could have killed nearly all of Sakk's SCVs in that natural, but he's still taken such a big advantage here just by getting these lurkers into position. It's going to take a very long time to irradiate his way through everything to get rid of this. He needs to start laying mines out here on the right-hand side to prevent this from happening a second time.
Yeah, this is a little bit problematic to say the least. Like, this game state is becoming more and more untenable. We do have the fourth base coming online for Ssak at that 6 o'clock location, but with Defiler, look at these Defilers just hanging out next to mines right now. Does finally notice those on the mini-map. Going to be sending out some vultures to deal with that force. That's pretty good pickup there from Ssak. If he can maintain these kind of trays, that would be huge. He's cleaning up the natural expansion now. We will be able to go back to mining, and like we were saying, didn't actually kill that many of those SCVs. Didn't try and target fire with the subterranean spines on those lurkers, or didn't actually kill the SCV train there critically. So maybe, just maybe, Ssak is in an okay enough position to still get this mech transition underway and still make a game out of it.
I'm a bit worried, but yeah, you're right. Fourth base is coming online now. Tanks are still being incremented out, and upgrades are coming here for these mech units. Just Hero is such a strong late game player, and Ssak has been thrown off his balance a little bit. He's going to have a hard time getting his feet back under him, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities here for Hero to do things like switch back into mutas and suddenly take out a bunch of these tanks, or get more plays like that Defiler Lurker attack going here as he tries this transition. Here we go, dropping some Dark Swarm on these tanks. It's a pretty good position where the tanks were, but it's not so great if the Dark Swarms are able to come down that quickly. He needs to get those tanks in high enough numbers so that you can't even run forward with the lurkers under the Dark Swarm and they'll just all die.
Well, if Ssak can somehow get this fourth base online, he has a fighting chance in this game, but Hero's going to rapidly grow as well while he's applying pressure to the Terran player, and that's going to be where the rubber meets the road. Can somehow Ssak keep a tank count strong enough to eventually fight against Hero? He needs to somehow build up like 18 to 24 tanks and then leverage them all in one single location where it doesn't matter that there's Dark Swarm. He just kills everything underneath it. It's going to take a while for him to get that kind of tank count going. Hero's actually ahead of him in supply right now, so I don't know how he's going to deal with the macro powerhouse of Hero, who's going to be just sending swarms of units at him in a Sauron Zerg fashion, clearing mines with Lings on move command and trying to do his best to create little pockets of chaos all around the map. And then with the tanks all split up trying to deal with that, he will eventually trade better and better.
Oh, I just heard a mine actually take out a Defiler there. That's pretty sick. Catching the Defiler as it's coming out with the mine, the value is absolutely insane. And so he's going to push up into a pretty good spot. This is a little bit scary here. He does have the Defiler for the Dark Swarm there on this one lurker, but the Radiate goes down. This is a pretty high count of tanks over at this position. Going to be hard to defend. There's an Ultralisk coming out. I'm not a big fan of the Ultralisk transition versus mech, but it can work if you are able to keep the game scrappy enough. SCVs are going to be pushed away from 6 o'clock, and vultures will be sent back in order to deal with that. Ultras coming down here as well, but the mines are getting amazing value.
Yeah, just barely these lurkers will be lucky enough to get down into that 6 o'clock pocket before going splat.
Ooh.
Nice D-Matrix saving that vessel. Some lifelines thrown Sark's way here, but losing this 6 o'clock base would be problematic. He's not noticing, he's not lifting that CC. That is going to die at 6 o'clock critically. Meanwhile, action starting to break through this tank contained in the top left as well. There is enough siege tanks to still kill some of these units under Darkstorm like we were talking about earlier. This is what you need as Terran, just a massive army of tanks that are still ripping through the Zerg units regardless of those orange clouds of death. Needs to reinforce this position and keep the pressure on Action, who's currently powering off of 5 gases. That's a lot of gas, guys. That's 1,500 gas a minute. That's a lot of Ultralisks.
Yeah, and he's getting more bases as we speak. More and more locations online and mining, but he's in a bit of desperation mode here, trying to hold on as the tanks get closer and closer. If he breaks here, things are going to get really scrappy and weird for a hero. Sending in a counter attack. Looks like he can hit this bunker, at least for the time being. There should be some reinforcements making their way over there, and a repair on that bunker will keep it safe for now. Tanks are getting very close to this base, though. It's looking a little bit scary. Hero gonna send even more forces across. If he can start to break the natural, then this force out on the map will eventually be taken over. But if Ssak starts to, even on 3 bases, if he starts to stabilize and keeps reinforcing this position, that tank number over at this top left natural is gonna get scarier and scarier. He is starting to break through a little bit. Yeah, we've got some of these tanks going down. The number is not really growing right now as everything's being forced to fall back here, and GG is finally called. There it is. Hero takes out Ssak and will advance.
Yeah, we didn't expect it to go quite down in that fashion, but the mech switch was a nice touch there from Ssak. It's a shame he couldn't execute, didn't quite have a favorable enough game state to make it happen, but did make a strong showing of it despite being in a weird position. Hero just smacking down that bioball early made the game really hard for Ssak. Didn't have the kind of map control needed to make that transition as smooth as possible, unfortunately. But would like to see more of those kind of games from him. I would love to see a Terran player start to mech switch a lot more in this matchup. It's just such a hard style to play well at the top level.
Yeah, Hero found that one little gap in the defense, and he hit it hard, and he hit it early with those lurkers running into that natural. If he had missed out on that, or if he had run into mines there, we could have seen a completely different game. Ssak was really on the back foot after that moment. This is a pretty intense situation here, but because of all the pressure that was going down at this base, he completely missed out on lifting this command center, and that really messed him up in this game. Not having that 4th base running took away a lot of his chance of breaking through Hero.
Yeah, it made a weird game state even more untenable. He just can't handle that kind of gas production from Hero. If he's not got this 4th gas online himself, he can't produce enough tanks. Tanks are very efficient against ultras because obviously in terms of gas, like 1 ultra is equal to 2 tanks just based on gas alone. That's not so easy for the Zerg to overcome. He has to keep the game scrappy so he can keep trading off these tanks one at a time, and eventually there's not enough tanks to kill the units under Darkstorm, and you can then trade more and more efficiently with the Ultraling style. But here the pressure is on Hero to keep the game as scrappy as possible and create enough ladders made out of chaos to keep climbing his way to victory. Ssak just wasn't able to find that kind of kill move needed with enough tanks to get the job done in pushing up into that top left.
Really good defensive play here from Hero, just constantly sending little groups of lings, a couple of Dark Swarms, and lurkers under Darkstorm to just hold the line as long as possible while he gets these counterattacks done. Very, very well played. It's super hard to beat a meching Terran player with pure Ling Ultra, but he managed to make it happen. Good on him. He makes it through the round of 16. That's exactly what we expected, and we're happy to have him there. Wouldn't really be a great ASL season without Hero, truly. In his current state, if he got knocked out by something cheesy, it would be a really sad day.
Yeah. I mean, we did expect this group to kind of go this way. I would be kind of blown away if Ssak did somehow 2-0 his group and get through, but that's not going to be happening today.
Yeah, it looks like he's very happy making it his way through this group first. Everything kind of went his way. He didn't have to take on action in that winner's match, so you could say thank you to Ssak for making that happen, for giving him the TVZ in the winners finals, and now he'll be going into that round of 16 with confidence. This guy, he makes top 4 this season for sure, right, Xun?
I think so. I think so. Like, yeah, the question for me is, does he win it or only get top 4? That's my thing right now.
Yeah, that's a tough call. We'll see how high he can get. He's had a hard time with ZVZ historically. There's a lot of strong Terran players out there right now. That could give him a really hard time as well. Barracks and Speed come to mind. Those two guys are super scary at the moment. And so we'll see how Hero can contend with those guys. Those are the matches that I'm really looking forward to, honestly. I love ZVT from the bottom of my heart. One of my favorite matchups of all time. Really iconic StarCraft matchup.
Absolutely.
But
yes, and I completely agree with that.
Hero versus Speed, man. I cannot wait for that match. I hope that comes sooner rather than later.
Can you imagine the fireworks? Oh my days. Especially if Speed plays similar to Ssak there, where he does like an SK Terran opening, but then into a mech switch. Oh my goodness. I'd be so excited to watch that. I wouldn't even care who wins. I'd just be enjoying the game, saying that'd be amazing. Hero, though, is one of the few guys in this tournament that just doesn't get rattled. That's why you see him so calm and collected from getting cannon rushed or whatever other shenanigans he's got to worry about. He just won't fall apart mentally, regardless of what you do. And that's why I favor him so strongly in events like this. He's as cool as a cucumber, one of the most underrated players, despite performing at such a high level. People know how good he is, and I still think he's underrated.
He's going to be celebrating here tonight, drinking some soju, chilling out with his friends. All his fans here at the front row cheering him on. They're going to be very happy to see him in that round of 16 and hoping for him to advance through to the round of 8 and the round of 4, going deep in this tournament once again and looking for that first championship. For now, Ssak is going to go down. He's going to go down to the winners or the losers final. But up next, we've got YSC versus Action. Is there any chance YSC takes down Action in this next game?
I mean, he's taken out Sulky in the KCM. He's taken out lots of these great players in online events, but can he do it in an offline setting? I don't know. He's always been knocked out in these group stages. He's never broken through into the round of 16, as far as I'm aware. Maybe, though, maybe today is his day. You know, you don't want to completely count someone out. But in his Action as well, it's not Hero. If it was Hero, I would say definitely not. But against Action, I think there's a tiny chance. I would give maybe like a 98% to Action, a 2% to YSC here.
I think I might go with something similar, maybe like a 10% for YSC. I thought his opening was great versus Hero. I really thought that he got a pretty decent advantage overall, but just wasn't able to close it out. Showing some cracks, showing some nerves, and an inability to close is so important when you're talking about Hero in Action, who will go into that late game and just drag you through the mud. So powerful, guys, in that very latest stages of both ZVP and ZVT. We're going to take a 2-minute break, guys. We'll be right back with that losers match, Action versus YSC. All right, we're back. Xun is, I think, still in the washroom, but I'm here.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. He made it back.
My timing is impeccable.
All right. Welcome back, Xun.
What's up, buddies?
Hope you guys are having fun in the chat, enjoying these games. Action is in good shape, but things never go his way. Dude is just unlucky. Yeah, I think he's pretty darn unlucky. He is so good.
Yeah.
There is that possibility that he just doesn't perform well on stage, though. Like, that is a serious factor. Takes a long time to overcome these nerves.
Yeah. You saw YSC a little bit shaky there while taking a drink. Action also will be feeling some nerves. It's not like these guys are impervious to the nerves. Some of them are a little bit more able to deal with it better than others, but even at the highest levels of play, you still feel some jitters with the cameras right in your faces, the lights, the crowd. It's hard not to take notice of it on some manner of speaking, but hopefully they can be as zen as possible and just drown out everything into a background noise. They get into this losers match right now. The final match can somehow they break through. This is their last time to do so. They're going to be knocked out otherwise.
On his last legs, Action spawning over in that top left. YSC, similar position down here in the bottom right. Still yet to get a win over a Zerg player in the ASL. Is it going to be his lucky day today? Is this his match? Finally get that first win.
It's a shame Action couldn't play against this, against a Terran on this map. I would love to see his Nidus Canal play on here. We hopefully will see him in the next round and eventually get to see one of those games where he's just like building Nidus Canals in the corner of these main bases and being very adept in how he navigates around the map with his Defiler play. Let's see, though, how he does up against YSC. It's going to be cross-map position, so we'll take a little bit of time to find each other and figure things out. Let's see if Action wants to be greedy and go for 11 hatch here. But I have to think, even though it's a 4-player map, he might be throwing down the overpool just to be safe.
If you don't know what Xun's talking about, Actions showed some pretty impeccable hidden hatchery into Nidus play on this map in the KCM. That's another tournament that we do on my channel, Saiyan KCM, over on YouTube. It's every single week, comes out on Fridays, and we've been doing it together for about 2 years now, so it's a really fun event. We've been enjoying it a lot. You guys should definitely check it out. In the meantime, when you're waiting for the ASL, it does give some nice background context. It's a very fun series, no mirror matchups or anything like that, and Action showed a very interesting style, just grabbing a hatchery, like specifically on this map. It seems really strong, right? You've got that main base that's so elongated and weird shaped that you
like
can,
a big boot.
Yeah, you can hide a hatchery way down in the corner and then put a Nidus there and start to slide over towards that gas, take that base in kind of a sneaky way where the other players just aren't expecting it.
Yeah, we saw him play that way on Nemesis way back when, and as well as doing some proxy hatchery Nidus play against Terrans just to attack, he's very well known for using buildings, Nidus canals, and defilers in very interesting ways. This game, though, it's going to be a hatchery first, a 12 hatch versus a gateway expansion from YSC. It is cross map, though, so that helps out a lot in dealing with this initial Zealot pressure. Going to be throwing down a very fast 3 hatch here undeterred. The probe scout was just a little bit too late in getting a scout off and blocking that from transpiring. And now Action Scout is going to be detecting this first Zealot timing. So here, Action's going to be extremely well optimized in dealing with this gateway first.
Interesting that Action discounted the idea of going for a cannon rush here after he saw YSC open, kind of leaning towards a cannon rush in the first game. And ended up cannon rushing the third base. He assumes that YSC won't do it again, and he's right. And so we've just got this one zealot here pounding away at the hatchery. Once there's 2 zealots hitting the hatchery, it starts to actually decrease in health as it builds. And so you really do need to get over there and prevent it from dying before it finishes. And so he will bring these lings over, but gonna tuck right in between these 2 mineral patches and be quite annoying here while sending the probe in potentially to get some more scouting information.
Yeah, someone like Queen might just try and contain these zealots and ignore them for a while. Most Zergs will try and trade them out regardless of their favorable positions, just so you don't have to deal with them harassing your drones later on. He probably wants to wait a few moments before engaging them, just so he's got more lings out to not worry about any additional zealots sneaking in while he's trying to clear that out. And it's going to be a 9-7-3 play here. Okay. Maybe, just maybe, he can make this. But there's quite a few probes pulled off of the natural expansion to block the natural here. He's thinking that action might be going for a run by with additional lings while containing these zealots. So I like to see YSC not taking any chances and making sure that he's got all of his I's dotted and T's crossed. But it also means he won't be as optimized going into that mid game.
It's kind of surprising to see action go 9-7-3 versus Gateway first.
Yes.
And also cross map. It's just not really the optimal way to play. It's pretty suboptimal, in fact. And in this case, he's going to finish ling speed as well. So maybe this isn't the 9-7-3. Maybe he's going to try something a little different. Maybe get another hatchery before he goes for some hydras.
Well, he might be doing the variation where you remember I told you where you can just get like 5 or 6 hydras and just pure ling behind that. Right. No, so you might not be seeing anything too crazy. You might just be seeing enough hydras to shoot the cannon over the wall, and then the lings take care of the rest. That also might be a factor here.
Well, it's kind of countered by the fact that the cannon is kind of far back from the wall, right? If you've got the cannon right up against the wall, that type of play works very well. But with the cannon kind of pulled back a little bit here, and a second cannon on the way, I don't think that's going to work too well. Citadel on the way as well here is going to be getting into that speed, zealot speed, pretty early on. Doesn't have a second gateway just yet, so he doesn't have many zealots to actually block this. But it's going to be pretty tough for action to break through, and the Corsair is already out. If he starts another cannon here, he's going to be fine. If he starts the cannon when he sees the Hydralisk, there's still a chance that maybe action breaks through. Let's see when he sees that and when he starts this cannon. Okay, he's going to start the cannon right now. This is a pretty tight hold, but I think YSC has the best possible chance of making it work.
Oh, he takes a couple of shots on that Hydra already. It's a little bit suboptimal. He might just be faking now, just forcing as many of these cannons as possible, and will eventually transition. There's the 4th macro hatchery coming down. Yeah, oh, that's really problematic for action. You don't lose anything right now. It is hard to hit the things from the vertical position. Basically, the game draws like straight lines from the units to the edge of the building. And obviously the buildings are wider than they are taller, so sometimes it can be very difficult to get your units lined up on the vertical axis, like Dragoons heading bunkers or something. And it has to be like almost pixel perfect where you place the units until those range upgrades are online.
4 cannons only is a little bit light on those defenses. He's going to add a couple more now. Got to be careful here not to under-defend. You do want to get your gateways out as soon as possible to start that production and turn on some aggression while action tries to, drone here. But okay, he's going to add a lot more cannons now. It's actually like 4 more cannons. So he's taking it very seriously as he sees the number of hydras that are being produced. The lings are also going to, soak up a lot of the damage as well. So this many hydras plus all of the lings soaking damage, that's quite dangerous. He might have to pull probes here, or he could just die. Looks like action may be going in just a second. He's ready. He's going to pull the trigger. I think so. Here he goes.
Nah, he's not going to go in, I don't think. He's
no?
the 7th cannon, he's not going to go in. Yeah, he's trying to eyeball things. He made an Evo chamber at 7 minutes, so he's just going to get upgrades. Like 6 cannons, he can technically bust this, but there's a risk of this going wrong, and suddenly he's not in a good spot. So he probably won't actually go in on this. He's just going to go 6 hatch Hydra as a follow-up.
Wow, well, I'm pretty happy that YSC actually built the second pylon there. I was getting a little bit afraid. That first pylon way out at the front was the only thing powering the cannons for a little while. He actually built 2 more pylons behind that. Make sure that he has that power. Didn't over make cannons, but he really cut it. He ended up really cutting it close. Like, if there was maybe 1 less cannon here, I think Action would have dove in and just killed him.
Yeah, if it was like 5 instead of 6 and he didn't have 4 zealots to body block and tank, then he probably would have just dove in on that. But he knows that it's not a cost-efficient trade. He will kill the cannons, but just barely not break the natural expansion, and that's not worth it because you want to drone up right now. You want to go up all the way to like 45 drones if you can, even getting a 4th base online. He won't saturate that right away. He'll make sure that he's got the soft contain under control before even bothering to saturate that 4th base if he has to, because he knows he just needs pure unit production and dealing with his first move out timing from YSC. Between like 9 minutes and 11 minutes, Protoss are powering up so hard.
It's a nice idea to grab the Dark Archon now. He spotted this kind of hidden spire from Action. Action was trying to hide that in the corner of his natural, but YSC gets in there and scouts. He sees the possibility of mutas coming his way, and so he immediately makes a Dark Archon. He's gonna move towards his 3rd base. Is he gonna try and take this now, or is he gearing up for a big attack? +1/1 is done. So he's got those double upgrades pumping away. YSC gonna take this 3rd base, it looks like.
Yeah, YSC was really concerned about a potential like hard lurker contain as well, which is actually going to come back and haunt him because he's not going to be doing any kind of pressure out on the map with like active zealot threats or anything. Now, like, Action's going to get away with murder. Like, he's droned up so heavy that he can just transfer over to this 4th base. He doesn't have to worry about making any additional drones anymore. He can just mineral smooth to his heart's content, get everything fully optimized, and make exactly what he needs to combat this. He knows there's no way of probably killing this 3rd base, though, so he's just going to transition straight into Hive.
Yeah, with the 4th base coming on live, that Hive transition is definitely tenable, but will he go for it? Or make a bunch of mutas and try to snipe Templar, just make... Oh no, he's got triple evolution chamber. He is definitely going high. Yeah. This is the action we love 100%. To see.
Yeah, he definitely will. This is the way he's played this so far makes me think he's going to do a hard transition here and not even try to attack YSC anymore. Let YSC come to him and play more reactionary, going into a very strong late game 10 hatchery production style. There's quite a few forces starting to gather outside the 4th base of Action here. Dark Archon with Maelstrom and quite a lot of storms available to him. Needs to somehow break open this defensive line of lurkers before getting up onto the high ground, though. If he does get his toe up on this high ground and get up on this sledge, it will be very favorable to trade for him, but it's hard to get up there with the lurkers entrenched like the way they are.
I love that, pulling a single muta in a group with 1 Scourge so that the Dragoons target down the muta and the Scourge can connect on the Observer. Getting rid of that Observer completely takes the wind out of the sails here for YSC. He's going to try and get a 4th base online, but Action's just going to rely on a couple little counter attacks here and there to try and slow this down. It's not enough zealots to stop it, and he actually forces the cancel. That's huge. I think that was canceled with 1,200 minerals in the bank. I believe that's the case, but it was a little bit close there.
Yeah, either way, just slowing that down is a huge ordeal right now for Action. The Protoss player needs this 4th base just to feel okay about the game state. Not even winning, just feeling okay about it. Hasn't even mined that much gas additionally. Like, this 3rd gas is finished. He's just now starting to put probes onto that. You want to stay as optimized as possible as Protoss. You don't usually bank up gas that often compared to Zerg, but you do still need enough gas where you can churn out mass amounts of High Templars and Dragoons, because you need about a strong standing army of about 2 control groups of goons, if you can, to skirmish with the Zerg and help protect these critical High Templars so they can get their job done by storming the Zerg into death.
Action has really played his game so far. He's going to start to stretch out, look for that 5th base soon as YSC gets his 4th online. That'll become mandatory. However, he is so far just working on getting his defilers out early. And it looks like we're going to have like a 14-minute defiler. That's about the fastest defiler you can ever get in this matchup, Xun. It's so strong.
Yeah, I mean, you can go like double Defiler Mound and try and go straight into Plague if you're feeling ahead enough, but that's not necessarily needed. You just need some kind of Defiler. Oh, beautiful picks on these Observers. There's just one more Observer remaining with this army, and not that much Storm as well. These Dragoons do kind of act like siege tanks, though, putting on pressure to the Zerg on the periphery. You don't... Oh, look at that Maelstrom as well. That's a nice little touch there from YSC, but it's not going to be enough to get through. There's a second Maelstrom coming up, but without a Storm to combo with that, it's not going to be as cost efficient as he would like to. He's trading okay with these Dragoons, but honestly, this is not the greatest of skirmish going his way. Action is still in a very healthy supply. That's a pretty okay Storm, but not even going to be able to clear those lurkers. We see some action of units sharking around the map to make sure there's no additional bases. He knows that if YSC's kept on full base, he will be able to manage pretty strong late game showing. He just needs to make sure there's no ninja bases set up from YSC while this is all going on, so he can sit back and turtle.
Looks like a misclick from YSC there at the 4th base, having those probes sitting around not doing anything for so long. Really going to cost him a lot. He was so focused on breaking through that base, getting on top of that Nidus Canal, and picking that off. He's now moving over towards the top right-hand corner. Looks like he might be able to deny this 4th, but we could actually see Action start to pull out those moves we were talking about earlier, right? He could start to throw down hatcheries in these corners and start to Nidus into these locations to get this 5th base online as well.
Yeah, it's not as strong against Protoss, but it's definitely a way of securing bases if you're having a hard time getting there on the ground or they're blocking the ramp or something. Definitely could still make something work with that. YSC, though, doing a good job of denying this base in the top right, it has to be said. If the game remains 4 base versus 4 base forever, eventually the Protoss can make a very playable game out of it if they do somehow get additional bases online, but it's going to be hard for either of these players to expand right now. Neither player wants to allow the other one to get a 5th base online. We see Action trying to shove all of his army down here in this bottom left quadrant as much as he can, sniping as many of these units off so that he can deny any additional bases going online, as well as maybe securing one for himself. Both players need to desperately get a corner of this map set up, and neither of them are allowing the other one to get it.
Ooh, this is pretty good, actually. He killed the Defiler that was making its way down to the bottom left, and now Action's going to have a hard time holding that base. This 4-base economy, it lasts for such a long time as Protoss, man. It's such a frustrating situation as a Zerg jumping back and forth trying to get a 5th base online while the Protoss just sits there and builds endless units and just seems to have just a crazy amount of supply to deal with you absolutely everywhere. It's really a tough situation. He's completely maxed out, YSC is. And Action is still looking to just swing back and forth here. Can he actually get one of these bases to stick? It's looking hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough if he can't get this 5th base online. Like, 4-base Protoss will outscale 4-base Zerg eventually. Protoss are just more cost efficient in general. You'll always be trading at a deficit unless the Protoss player is blundering, pretty much. And look at this play from YSC. He's being very tactical. Just a small hit squad of special forces down here, preventing this base going online while his main army is ready to skirmish at the rally point of Action. But Action finally does manage to get a sizable army up into this top right quadrant. Now going to be double expanding up here. I doubt he's going to be able to deal with this base in the top right now. So YSC is just going to secure his own quadrant in the bottom left, and we're going to have a bit of a split map position here, which does technically favor the Protoss the longer the game goes on, but for a while it's going to be very Zerg favorite once that Plague is online.
Plague's going to be coming online any moment. Those Defilers have been out for quite a long time. We haven't seen a Plague yet. Also, drop Plague could be very strong in a situation like this. Your opponent taking their natural. If you can drop a bunch of units up onto that high ground, start to make lurkers up there and just turtle the position, it becomes really, really difficult for YSC to hold. We'll see if that ends up being the case. Nice job with the feedback. Huge feedback there. He almost gets a second Defiler with the feedback play, which is absolutely the way you want to deal with a turtling Zerg player like this. Turtling with Defiler. Just start to snipe down those all-important Defiler units. And yeah, here we go. Drop up onto the high ground. He's going to make a base up here on the high ground with that drop drone. A couple of storms coming out here as the Lynx try to push forward. He will get the Defiler. I don't think he can actually push through with this army, though.
He's killed 3 Defilers with 2 Storms. That's insane. He's getting such cost-efficient value. He's just not able to break through, unfortunately, even though he's making great trades, great feedbacks. Tarkon's got 28 kills. That's insane. But yeah, he's not going to be able to break up into this top right quadrant. So that's actually okay for Action, and we will be seeing Reavers eventually. Basically, the game state is like a 60% favorite for Action for the time being, but once the map gets split and Reavers are popping out at every base, it becomes much more of an even game state of like 50% for both sides. Though, look at this, though, trying to break through his YSC, seeing if he can force the issue. There's not that much Storm with this army, though. He needs to make sure every Storm counts to possibly break through it. Action knows that there's a chance that he can, so we'll be sending more and more army to try and wrap around and flank these units.
Wow. YSC making some really good progress, man. Just the problem is he might get surrounded and lose everything here in a moment. All right, these lurkers are going to get surrounded by the zealots, actually, and a lot of them will go down. Defiler comes out. He's looking for a plague. Doesn't maybe have the energy for that. If he gets a good plague on all of these zealots, they will just disappear super quickly. A lot of these lurkers here in the natural are quite low. Here comes some storms. Gonna be clearing out a lot of this stuff. Can Action actually hold on? He's making a great push out of it, but he's actually getting kind of deep now. Dragoons are under Dark Swarm fighting against Lings. It's not a great trade there, and these forces up here on the high ground are actually going to deny the base from YSC for the time being. The supplies have really dropped, and they're actually even at this point. Lurker here at the bottom left-hand natural. This is a really sneaky move by Action during all the chaos to start to wipe out a bunch of these drones.
Yeah, look at that. There's a hatchery in the bottom left like we were talking about. We're going to be seeing a little sneaky Nidus Canal maybe set up there for some future shenanigans. Even just being able to make Hydras to morph into lurkers down there to be annoying would be pretty cost efficient. Yeah, it looks like YSC's not going to be successful in breaking into that top right quadrant like we thought, but it was still really nice play from him. He was pre-splitting his army as well to make it harder to plague. I've been pretty impressed with YSC's showing, even though he's not doing so hot right in this moment. Maybe, just maybe, he can still split the map, get Reavers online, and turn this into a bit of a mineral mine out game where the whole map slowly becomes mined out, and he can slowly but surely grind Action down with cost-efficient trades.
Oh boy, he's not building a Nidus, but a drop may be coming in. This drop could be big. Drop here on the high ground. There's going to be a Defiler here with some lurkers as well. Big good storm there hitting that lurker. A couple more storms do come up to this high ground. He will be able to kill the lurker in time, and the Defiler goes down. More Lings are being made, but I think this hatchery will die. It's a little bit unfortunate that a Nidus wasn't made.
Yeah, I don't even think he made a Nidus in preparation for that. Maybe he just wanted to harass by using that hatchery and just forgot to even bother setting up a Nidus for it, or didn't want to commit too many forces down. I'm a little bit surprised by Action. Usually he does like to get a Nidus Canal set up on this kind of play here. Does now want to shove the issue, though. Mass amounts of army. He was distracting YSC in this bottom left, getting all the army coming down there to worry about potential doom drop. Now he's shoving right to the rally point of the Protoss player. He knows that natural expansion is usually the most weakest point of defense for the Protoss at this stage in the game. He's trying to abuse that and cut off the army from getting back to defend, driving a wedge between the army and the rally point to see if he can get some cost trades going for his own. Lots of Scourge also coming in, picking off that shuttle as well. There is still an observer here, though, so I think YSC will clean this up just barely, but this is still pretty good trades for Action.
Those were some pretty damn good storms. My goodness, a lot of those lurkers were stacked up, and they're still stacked over here. And in fact, he will start to push this back a little bit. Reavers are coming forward. I don't like this. He should keep the Reaver in the natural. He lost his shuttle, and so he can't juggle that any longer. He had some storms and a shuttle a little bit earlier. There it goes. He loses the Reaver. Dude, if he has the Reaver behind all these cannons, there's no way it dies. But with the Reaver going down, maybe there's a chance for Action to break through. He's going to just rally absolutely everything towards this base.
Yeah.
Maybe he can actually break through this. This is crazy. If he gets in here and kills the main base, YSC will just lose. It's way too early to be losing all this stuff. He's getting the Dark Swarm down on these cannons, and look at how much stuff is coming across the map. Oh my goodness, Action is doing it.
This is pure Sauron Zerg mode. He's in desperation now. Units kind of coming from the bottom left as well to try and help deal with this. YSC doesn't have enough forces to hold the line, though. There's not enough Reavers that have been made to sandbag this effort of action. He is going to be able to break through into this natural expansion. This is a great way of playing late game Zerg versus Protoss. So often the Protoss kind of neglect this natural expansion and don't make enough defenses here. And he's abusing that to the perfection right now. Action's going to get on top of the main base production line and start killing off the pylons and the gateways, the tech buildings, and the main infrastructure in total that YSC is currently relying on. There are some counterattacks trying to cut off reinforcements so that Action can't just stream units down here infinitely. Maybe, just maybe, YSC can start to clear this up, but cracklings kill buildings so quickly, Saiyan.
Yeah, it does look like he has cut off the reinforcement train that was coming across the map. He's going to open that back up again, though, and Action's going to make another run for it, sending a whole bunch of Lings down here to start to break this base. Yeah, this is looking a bit doomed here for YSC. He can start to just make robos everywhere and keep pumping out Reavers down in the bottom left, but it is super rough in a situation like this to try and take on such a massive macro boss like Action. Once you've lost the main base, so much of your production is gone. You have to rebuild an insane number of pylons, and eventually Action is going to break you somewhere, right? He's going to find a way to drop on one of these bases, probably the one in the bottom left, get in there and stop you from mining there, and then you're just going to kind of run out of minerals while Action continues to take more of the map.
Yeah, we saw YSC a moment ago just lean back in his chair and breathe out a massive sigh, knowing that the writing is on the wall for him. This is going to be such a tough game to win. He technically can still win by turning it into a refugee-style game and just making mass Reavers everywhere, trying to sandbag the Zerg player and trading as cost-efficiently as possible. He would need to get a damage upgrade on these Reavers as well to keep trading as efficiently as possible. Reavers Scarabs cost 15 minerals each, so you want to make sure you get the damage upgrade on that to make it even more efficient going forward as well. There's just too many fires for him to put out everywhere. He is losing so much of his infrastructure. This game will be easier and easier for Action to find the winning condition now that he's starting to cripple the main infrastructure in that main base and also denying this mining base from being fully mined out at the 3 o'clock location. Action is doing a very strong game here, even maybe catching this probe train on the transfer.
Ooh, looks like he didn't burrow in time, so he won't be able to catch that, but he's making an attempt on the bottom center. May actually be able to get through here as Dark Swarms come down and these Reavers are going to start to get cleared out. A lot of these probes are going to wind up falling, and yeah, he will be able to bust through. Perfectly done, actually, hitting from both sides at the same time with the Dark Swarm, Lurkers, Lings, everything getting on top of this. YSC is falling apart here, losing these bases and allowing Action to take them. If we go to a full mine out situation, Action's just going to have mined so much more. He can mine the center right. He's already taking that base. He can mine bottom center, and then he can also mine the middle, which is a bunch of stacked minerals there. And so he will get the better end of the stick when it comes to mine out, and I just don't see YSC being able to come out and break him anywhere. Like, there's just no chance of that. Barely living and holding on is the best that YSC can do in a situation like this.
Yeah, no, someone like you or me, you'll probably get a little bit frustrated in finishing a game like this, Saiyan, but I mean, not Action. He's a pro gamer. He's going to be playing out of his mind regardless of the game state and able to very slowly but surely clinch this out. He's even denying mining in this base in the bottom left with these lurker drops, being super annoying to YSC, who's trying to find any kind of efficiency by making lots of High Templars and Reavers, but it's just not going to be going his way. He's even got a Great Aspire to put some pressure on with Guardians as well and forcing more interactions and more fires for YSC to put out soon. It's going to be so hard for him to hold on here, Saiyan. Action is the most aggressive macro Zerg we've got in the tournament, and he's going to show you why that's the case.
Just watch this Guardian switch, guys. It is going to blast YSC. As he comes forward, he's just going to dive directly on top of those Reavers and start to smack them down, and then come forward with the Dark Swarm to break the final position. There's a few storms here, but there's certainly not enough. He was delayed in producing those Templar for quite some time after the Templar Archives was killed. Okay, that's quite a few Templar actually coming to the fore now. However, he's opened up a hole in his defense over here at the main, and he's just going to come in and drop now while only poking in with the units here at the front rather than a full engagement with the Guardians there at the front. He pokes the front, seeing that there's enough defenses, goes directly for the main. This is just such good tactical decision making. His late game ZVP is second to none, dude. This guy is so good.
That's why I had like 2% chance for YSC winning this. I just didn't see him overcoming the powerhouse that is Action in this matchup. He's just too much of a beast, man. Maybe a different matchup, a different day, something could have happened, but just how can you deal with a monster like this? He's going to start pre-splitting all of these Guardians and dodging the storms. You will get good value in storming these Guardians down, but it doesn't matter when the Zerg's this far ahead. This is a win more button, and he's going to come in here and start being just too much of a nightmare to handle. There's just not enough storms and Reaver Scarabs in the world to make these trades happen. Eventually, but slowly but surely, he will break through here. He's got so many units waiting in reserve to come in right as the storms and Scarabs start to dry up. He's going to start pounding YSC into oblivion.
I would have loved to see some queens get made here, Xun. I'm actually a big proponent of this, to get queens and brutling all the Templar, but it's not necessary at all. He can make whatever he wants. He could make ultras and bust through that if he wanted to. He's got so much money and all the time in the world. YSC taps out, and he will be the first to lose in this group. First person eliminated, and still not able to put up a win versus Zerg in the ASL, man. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I mean, you got to feel for YSC a little bit there. Did have a pretty good showing. Was doing a good job of denying the 5th base for Action for quite some time. It just wasn't enough. He did try and do a super late game transition, but Action's just too good in understanding the game state and where he needs to hit. Also really good at setting up those 1-2 punches, like misdirecting by drawing your attention over to the front, and suddenly a drop's coming in right as that's happening. It's exactly how you want to play StarCraft. You don't just want to do one engagement if you can help it, unless you've got pure superiority. You want to go in and try and blindside them and distract them at the front while the real punch is coming in from the side that they don't even see coming, and you clock their jaw and their equilibrium starts spinning out and they fall to the mat.
All right, guys, we're going to have a quick 5-minute break. And then we'll have our final game, Action versus Ssak, who's going to go through to the round of 16. We could really use another Zerg player, but Ssak is looking really strong. He already took out Action once in that second match. Can he do it again? Pave his way to the round of 16? We're about to find out. Here we go, boys. The final match of the night. And the final group of the round of 24. The round of 16 is going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be a lot longer days as well. We're going to have a couple of best of ones and then a whole bunch of best of threes. Possibly, what was it, 11 games per day?
Right.
It's going to get pretty crazy.
Yes, potentially.
And those are going to be some really high-level games as well. Everybody who's made it through to the round of 16 so far is insanely high level.
Yeah. And even Scan breaking through. He was playing so good. Even the game he lost against Mini, he looked so good in that game. Had a chance of winning it. Everyone that's in the round of 16 so deserves to be there. They're playing out of their mind. I'm so excited to get deeper into this tournament, Saiyan.
Yeah, it's just going to get better and better here, guys. So we've got Ssak versus Action, who will be joining all of those killers in the round of 16 tonight. We're going to find out, will it be Ssak? Will it be Action? Here we go. Action spawning here in the top left. Ssak, top right. Has that first win under his belt. Wasn't able to take out Hero in the winners match, but that was to be expected. I mean, he put up a pretty reasonable fight.
Right.
Even transitioning into mech, nearly making it work, but showed a few cracks there. Action. They're looking for this revenge now. Is he going to be able to respond to the kind of funky play from Ssak in this matchup? He's been playing kind of unorthodox for the most part, right?
Right, yeah. I would love to see him go for like the 1-1-1 into SK Terran into mech switch again against Action. We might have a really crazy game on our hands, especially on this map, Radiant. It's a pretty powerful macro map. That's why he did the mech switch on Polestar, because it's also a very strong macro map where the third gas is easier to secure. I definitely think we may see a game like that here. I just don't think it's as likely, especially with these horizontal positions. It's going to be much harder to navigate something like that. Taking your fourth gas here and the 12 o'clock would be way too close to the Zerg, and getting Defilers and Lings over there to be annoying. So might be seeing a much more traditional game from these two players given these spawn locations.
I'm thinking there's a small chance maybe Action could go for like a 2-base all-in style of muta play. You know, Ssak is not that strong in TVZ, and you know, he didn't show the greatest handling of the muta play from Hero earlier on. He's going to get this gas right after. So it is kind of lining up for that. It's not, we can't really say for sure just yet whether that's something he might go for. But, you know, the natural is super close here. It's a really fast rally distance for the mutas. And, you know, Ssak, if he can't handle that initial attack with the mutas really, really solidly, you can just start to fall apart super quick. And Action is known for being a highly aggressive player at times as well, not just the macro powerhouse.
Yeah, and based on this gas timings, it looks like it's gonna be like a 252 layer as well. So very crisp on that timing. Could still be an all-in muta play. Does see the early marine pressure coming in. This isn't that much of a committal though from Ssak. He's not feeling too bad about this. As long as he just gets the drones to pull and deal with it, he's gonna be pretty comfortable about this. He doesn't need this bunker to finish up or get the marines in there to feel great about this. He just wants to pull drones and be as annoying as possible.
Certainly going to be very annoying here for Action to deal with, but he can get to mining in his natural now. Very low on drones, of course, over at this main base, but that's fine for the time being. He will transition drones over there as they pop out. More Lings, or some Lings being produced. Excuse me. Going to be sent out here to prevent any further Naked Marine move-outs from coming across and messing up his macro. But how many drones is he going to make, and will he commit to some mutalist pressure? I haven't seen a drone come out yet, and he really doesn't have the money for a third hatchery either. So whatever it's going to be a 2 hatchery play, I believe.
Yeah, I actually think that Sark's getting the better end of the stick with this early mine game of like pretending like he was going to do a full-on bunker rush, but really not a lot. And now he's committed into these Zerglings. It slowed down the lair timing by like, I don't know, like let's say 15 or so seconds, maybe 17 seconds. He slowed down this lair timing. Everything is going to be so much slower for action. He's not going to be as optimized to come in here and punish Sark. So maybe, just maybe, Sark can navigate his way into a very strong mid game here.
It's definitely a possibility. As the Spire starts, Lings are going to poke the front, just seeing what he can see. How many Marines are being produced, and it's non-stop production coming out of Ssak for the time being. It's a second Rax here on high ground. Oh, 1 Marine rallied out in a weird... ended up taking some weird pathing there. But I think that the follow-up here from Ssak is just exactly what you want to do, right? He... gets that little bit of early pressure, forces some drones off of mining. He kind of messes with the Mutalisk timing, and now he's going to come across the map and force multiple Sunkens out of action.
Yeah,
and that's just going to put him even slower.
Yeah, just 1 medic to force 2 Sunkens here. Action knows he has to respect this, even though Sark doesn't even have to come out. Like, he just will threaten the idea of coming out, and that will be more than enough. He will come out a little bit, but he knows there's also an opportunity for Action to get a wraparound with some speed Zerglings and kill this Bioforce. So I doubt that Sark's going to move much further out on the map than we see him right here.
Yeah, he's going to push out with the Fire Bat as well, try to get that out on the map, get some scouting information going. Looks like Action's actually picked up on it, and he's going to find that. And so, okay. Nice pull back there by Ssak as well, respecting it and spawning it in time. And so he will keep the Fire Bat alive for now. A little bit of back and forth here. Ooh, the Fire Bat looks like he's going to get it. Just barely not. Wow, he does keep that alive still.
Wow, that's a nice little moral victory there for Ssak. It does help you clean up the Zergling so much more efficiently if you do keep that of your army, but he wants to try and get out onto the map to scout for a 3rd base. Will eventually be taken out with the Zerglings. Nice little jostle back and forth between both players in the early game. You can see a turret even being placed by these 2 depots at the wall in. He wants to zone out the Mutalisk from harassing those, as well as defending his mineral line. Won't be putting any pressure onto Action after forcing their Sunkens and drone pool. He knows he's in a pretty good economic... Ooh, if he does somehow catch a Mutalisk for free, that's going to be just what he needs to navigate this mid-game efficiently. Action needs to be careful he doesn't give any more favors to Ssak.
Absolutely. Not a really hyper-aggressive early game here from Action with the Mutalisk. It looks like he makes quite a few drones in his natural, and his main is now fully saturated as well, and he sent a drone out, so he's looking to take a 3rd base eventually here. He has the full 8 mutas, can one-shot. Drone over at bottom right is interesting. He's going to take a sneak base down here and see if he can get away with it.
Yeah, I like this. It's going to be a long time before he either scouts or scans that location, most likely. There's like 3 or 4 other bases he will even check before considering that being an option for Action, which is great, because it'll take such a long time before he knows where he's at in this game state. So maybe he can just do a great job of navigating the mid-game, utilizing that. Does have a preemptive repair on the turrets, but he's not actually clicking to repair. A little bit of a mistake there from Ssak, mistiming when to click on the turret with the 2nd volley coming in. Didn't get the clutch repair to force another volley out of the Mutalisks here. So now this top position on the mineral line is completely exposed. Action is going to snag so many kills. And look at Sark's army running down to the bottom left quadrant, assuming there's a hatchery there, but there just isn't, saying he's going to be tilting his head in frustration now.
Oh, this is such a gimme for a Zerg player. The fact that he didn't find out where that hatchery is before moving out like this. He's able to get so much damage. He's forcing the SCVs away for so long. Dude, Ssak is messing this up big time. He is really throwing this game Action's way, and now even going to have to lift his CC. Action should be building a bunch of sucking colonies in his natural and just going all in with these mutas. Not all in, but just coming in here and dealing a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Ssak. Unfortunately, StarCraft is much more like poker than chess. You can't see the whole board. Ssak just assumes that he knew what the board state looked like, and Action also understood that that's what Ssak would assume. But with incomplete information as Terran, you can get just annihilated like this by trying to like hedge your bets, and guessing wrong can really cost you, unfortunately. He does have a couple of units making his way to the bottom right. We'll finally find this base, maybe get a couple of drone snipes as well. But now the Bioball is under threat of being shaved down to a nub. Still hasn't been mining in this natural expansion, so I don't know if this is going to be enough compensation killing these drones in the bottom right. He needs a hatchery snipe ideally. Will be eventually able to make his way into a Valkyrie transition to put the pressure back onto Action, but we already have the Hydra Den finishing up, so we'll be seeing some lurkers soon as well.
What are these Marines doing? It's kind of funny actually to see the Marines like this. Maybe he can snipe the... Wait, can he snipe the Hydra? Oh, that's actually big. That would actually be huge. If he kills the Hydras, okay, the Hydras actually split pretty well there, and he keeps 2 of them alive. Yeah, it's a weird situation. If you kill the Hydras, then he can't make lurkers. The lurker upgrade's not finished yet, and then you can actually just break through here. But looks like that won't occur. Lurkers will finish here shortly. They're not on the ramp. Okay, one does get placed on the ramp. Is it perfectly placed, though, to make sure that these Marines can't come up? Looks like it might be. No, it's not. He can actually run right past that. Oh, boy, Action in a bit of trouble here. He is going to have enough mutas to dive on top of these Marines for the most part, but one of the lurkers has already gone down. Great split here from Ssak. Oh, my gosh. I can't believe this is happening right now, Xun.
What is happening, Saiyan? Oh my god, he misplaced that lurker egg block by like a pixel. You have to practice that, and he does have it down. It's just he barely misplaced it. Now he's in trouble. This hatchery will be sniped in the bottom right. He has to go for a counter attack now and find compensation in the natural base of Ssak, who's throwing down some panic bunkers. He knows he just has to hold on to be in a good game state now. There's even a dropship online to do some additional assaults later on. He just has to hold on to his natural expansion and make sure nothing happens.
Well, some SCVs are going to get shaved off. He still doesn't have full control over this natural. He's been pushed back a lot, and so there's still hope for Action in this game. It's just such a massive loss, what's just occurred down in bottom right. Yeah, such a painful loss there for Action. If he loses this game off of a misplaced lurker egg, dude. Oh, the drone in bottom left died. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so painful, Xun. It's so painful.
This is wild. We might be seeing an upset. I mean, it's not quite over yet. He has killed a lot of these SCVs still. The Bioforce is also isolated out on the map. Can't really get a whole lot done, but does catch some of these units. Now sees the dropship. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way to make this work. The mutas need to come back and deal with this, or at least the pair of Scourge needs to catch this dropship. There are a current interception course of 2 Scourge, but luckily Sark's just going to unload one Valkyrie going down to a pair of Scourge as well near the natural expansion. This is going to be a close game either way, but no third base for Action does put the writing on the wall for him. He has to make something count. This 2-base play will not work forever. Eventually Ssak will start to outscale him.
Yeah, he actually needs to come over here and set up a contain on Ssak here soon. He can't just sit here and let the Marines, you know, keep him back for any longer. Oh, he does get the kill there. Getting rid of that Valkyrie. He can open up the position again. Start to kill some more of these SCVs and put the pressure onto this natural. He needs to come out soon, though, and actually kill this, and then get the Defiler push over towards the natural, or he's just not going to be able to win this game. He's so far out from a third base now, it's not even a possibility. There's no way he gets a third this game, I don't think. He's just got to win with what he's got, and he's got to make it happen now.
Yeah, Ssak would be in a much better position if he didn't lose that many SCVs and was mining a lot more efficiently on this natural. That's the one saving grace of Action right now. There's not enough macro behind Ssak because of not having enough minerals to work with. Action knows he needs to go soon and try and get a Defiler over to his natural expansion location. Would be a nice little kill move without even needing a third base online. Has got quite a few macro hatcheries. Oh, he's losing some overlords. That's going to supply block him potentially. Now he definitely needs to trade to make sure he can keep even making units. It's going to be such a tall order to make this work. He has got 3 lurkers, though, outside the natural expansion. I think they're on hold. Well, they're not on hold position. Okay. For a second there, I thought they were going to be on hold position and maybe wipe the army of Ssak, but now he knows they're there. With the vessels, will be a much more easier position to defend. Has got enough bio units to break out if he wants, but that's a trigger move for Action to come back in here and kill more of these precious SCVs.
A lot of SCVs have been killed, yeah, and there's the first plague of the game as well. He's going to be making a bunch of Hydras, a bunch of Lurkers, trying to push across the map. Action is in desperation mode here. These Marines are actually very low. With the plague, these Hydras can actually push through everything, but the reinforcement train comes forward. Dude, I think that Ssak is going to do it here. It is so close, though. If he comes forward and actually snipes a vessel, there's a good possibility that Action can get this. Oh, God. Yeah, he's going to get this around. Oh, no. These Lurkers. You tried so hard to keep these alive and keep them in the rally point to just make it harder for Ssak to come across the map. But he does lose 2 of the 3. And now this army is looking quite weak. As soon as the Irradiates start to come down, he's just not going to be able to keep up production.
Yes, 1-1 upgrades on these Terran units, so it is 3 subterranean spines to kill the bio units unless they've just stimmed. Again, though, coming in for round 5 or something to try and kill some of these SCVs. So that's 7 mutas active. Wants to keep Ssak worrying about that defense, but he's not going to worry too much about that. He wants to just make sure there's no third base for Action, and as soon as Action makes one mistake, he's going to pounce on it and then start chaining out Irradiates on these lurker lines. With only 600 gas a minute available for Action, it becomes untenable if they start chaining Irradiates like this. You have to go and do something. That's why we see him try and push out onto the map with these units, but Sakk's doing a good job of denying him this area control. Finally, Action is going to have to go soon. He can't just sit here and macro on 2 base versus 2 base forever. Eventually, he will be outscaled.
Yeah, I think this is the best possible move from Ssak. Look what he's doing back at home. He's building tanks on high ground and just setting them up. And he's going to pull back slowly but surely, drag this army out further and further away from the Lurkers. A lot of those Marines did die. But look at that, triple tank on high ground. He knows exactly what Action is up to, that he has to break him here, that he has to go for the kill move. And as long as he's got a bunch of tanks there on high ground with Irradiates coming out, getting spammed at every opportunity, he is definitely going to be able to hold this push. He's even coming out with the tanks. I'm not as big of a fan of that. Like, if he loses those tanks now, it would be really, really bad. If he just kept them on the high ground, I think it's a free win. But he's still making it really hard with the tanks up here to push any further forward for Action. Irradiate on that Defiler will be coming out soon, and then he's just going to start to run out of gas completely.
I think this is still fine from him, just because he's going to have tanks on the high ground as well, and these tanks are positioned to help secure the third. It's just a little bit more like flimsy of a defense that maybe Action can still break through now. He's going to try and dive in. He has irradiated so many of these Defilers, but still more and more are going to be transferring their way over to his rally point location. Ssak needs to be careful here and keep unsieging and repositioning these 3 siege tanks over and over again, buy as much time as possible, so more and more Irradiates can keep chaining out on these Defilers that make their way downtown. This is looking pretty good for both players. Like, there is still a win condition for Action here to come in and do something. We'll be eventually taking this third base, but it's not going to be quick enough to catch up in the scaling of Ssak right now. Sakk's going to run away with this game if he doesn't find some conversations. And Ssak is doing an absolute masterclass of playing keep away and keep constantly irradiating these Defilers. Finally, though, Action is getting close to this third base location. He's going to try and pounce on top of these 3 siege tanks and see if he can clean those up and deny this base from mining. This is a crazy game we have, Saiyan.
Yeah, this is a weird situation. Looks like a drop is going to come across as well, and that's actually probably going to be the kill move, honestly. This drop.
Yeah, maybe.
There's no way Action has army back at home to deal with that. We haven't seen Scourge get made for a long time because there is just such a lack of gas at this point. Some of the Marines get cleared by those sunken colonies, which is kind of nice for Action, but more Marines are going to get tossed into the main base now, and the drones are starting to fall, dropping really dangerously low in supply at just at 69. It's almost too low to hang on at all, and with no third gas still, he can barely keep making Defilers, and it's sending them across the map to deal with this. And in fact, he can't mine at all on this main base gas. I don't think he can mine at the natural either, or at least that was denied for quite a long time. Here comes another drop. Scourge are available, but they're not going to be able to connect. Ssak doing such a good job here closing this one out.
Yeah, he is creating a lot of fires for Action to put out right now. Was a nice defense with the Swarm on that main base mirror line, but look at these lurkers getting caught out of position as well. Everything is going Sark's way right now. Action's in a little bit of desperation mode, trying to stabilize his own infrastructure. We did see a denial of that third base on command center for Sark, though, so it's still a little bit of fighting hope now that Action secured this third gas and can get that mining. But he's doing such a good job of being cost efficient in clearing up the Zerg forces out on the map that maybe, just maybe, he can go all the way here. Needs to get these SCVs transferred over, though, and get this third base up online and operational once more.
The third base is finally coming online here for Action. He's still at 66 supply, guys. This is death's door for a Zerg player. You are so close to actually going out in a game like this, but he's barely hanging on. Again, his tournament life is on the line. There's no way he goes for an early tap out here. He's going to play until the very last breath has left his body. No defeat, no surrender, boys. Action is going to try all the way. He's going for a fourth base now.
Yeah, it's 10 toes down mode currently for both players. They know just how close this game is. It's going to come down to the wire. There is still a lot of hope for Action if he can stabilize, get some additional bases online, but he's also going to mine out a lot quicker than usual due to being forced onto two bases. So long his natural expansion is going to mine out minutes ahead of time. So now will be reset to like two base versus two base if he's not careful. So he needs to get his fourth base online right as Ssak is taking this third base location. The main base is already mined out for Ssak. He lost so many SCVs in that natural that the natural is actually going to mine for a bit longer for him.
So a situation like this, guys, is actually impossible pre-Hydralisk Defiler play. Before that came into the meta, like you would just die. There would be no way you could hang on. But because Zerg players got so good at actually mastering the style, and look at this. Oh my gosh, if he catches this dropship coming in, okay, he's not going to. Unfortunately, that could be the start of a really big comeback. If Action catches a couple of dropships and it gets this fourth base online, he could actually fully come back into this game and possibly win. Ssak is pushing forward with a really big army, and he's going to be dropping here. Oh my gosh, he gets it. That's huge.
Oh no, that's huge. That's a big tempo swing. That's 10 supply of units just down the drain. He can somehow find a plague on this army. That would also be crazy. Not the greatest of plagues. He's trying to douse this army with some chili sauce to make it even more tasty to deal with later. But right now, Ssak still has a pretty strong fighting chance in this game. Action finally getting this fourth gas online will be problematic, though. Somehow, some way, Ssak has got to keep the pressure on and make it very difficult to hold onto this base. There is two locations to push into. It's not as easy to defend this base with defilers and lurkers as some of these other positions. So Ssak has a strong... Oh, he loses another one. This is so painful. And now the plagues are starting to douse this army. Oh, this is brutal for Ssak right now. He's starting to fall apart. Look at that plague blanketing the entire tank line as well. Ssak is starting to fall apart in this game. He can't keep up with the Action powerhouse macro behind this.
I mean, we're at 100 supply. I wouldn't call it powerhouse macro, dude. Action, he's been just struggling, just pulling out the very tiny little bit of value out of each iota of gas he's been able to grab from these two bases. Somehow, some way, getting onto a fourth base. It's crazy that we've made it this far. I can't even imagine playing this game out how hard it would be. Action has somehow made it this far, and he is going to possibly go all the way. He's starting to get closer and closer in supply, finally getting over that 100 supply level, and he's going to get on top of some of these tanks. Remember, a lot of these were plagued earlier, and so they will go down insanely fast if he gets a big surround. He's continuing to grow, and I don't see that happening for Ssak. He's just sitting here on 3 bases, pumping out tanks and trying to take over the middle, while Action is just shutting down these drops. Oh gosh, these 2 drops coming across the map right now. Does he have anything to deal with that? 1 Scourge and a few Hydras. That's not going to be enough, and he will get this drop off. This could be a really big moment here as Ssak pushes forward. He will be stopped by the Defiler there. A lot of these drops are going to start to unload, but Lings are on top of everything. He's shutting it down perfectly. Oh my goodness, he's absolutely shutting this down, and Ssak is not being allowed to move forward at all with this army. He's not making any progress here aside from shutting down this one gas. It must be mined out by now.
Yeah, Action's really dotting his I's and crossing his T's and denying anything from transpiring. Even catching that dropship on the escape vector before he can get back to the safety of turrets is huge. I actually think there's a little mineral smoothing issue from Ssak. I don't think he transferred enough SCVs to his third base location, so his natural's now pretty much mined out, and there wasn't that many SCVs mining at this third base. They've been having the bestest of economies while this is all going on. Finally going to try and shove the issue and get into this natural third location and siege tank, but now the Action is going to try and get massive surround. Lurkers coming from the south. Dark Swarm, you cannot now kill that Lurker under Dark Swarm without fire bats. It's going to be so annoying for Ssak to have to deal with this and keep unsieging his tanks and reposition them over again. He can't keep up with the task switching. He's trying to come into the fourth base instead with some bar units to kill all the drones there and try and cut off the lifeline of Action and stop this gas pouring in, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough, guys. Action is starting to equalize the supply count. He's not even losing that many drones down here, and he's starting to clean up all of these fires that Ssak is starting.
I'm hearing a bunch of scans going out. Is this Ssak about to tap?
Yeah.
Explain this to me. How the heck did Action get +3 carapace in a situation like this?
Well, that's what I mean by macro powerhouse. While he's like fighting for his life, he's setting up for the late game. It's insane how he plays.
Look at what we've got. Okay, we've got +3 attack at least, but I mean, in this game where we've had 2 gases for an insanely long time, I just don't understand how he managed to slip those upgrades out. He's going to come up here and challenge this bio-tank force in the middle of the map. Gets another great plague on some of these vessels. Going to start to snipe those down as well. These are some amazing snipes here, down to just 83 supply once again. He's really on the edge of his seat here, trying to hold back Ssak, but Ssak has to make this work right here, right now, and Nidus is up. Defilers are coming through. I think Action will hold.
Yeah, I think he just barely will hold. There was technically a way of coming down here and breaking this without a Nidus, but with the Nidus finishing, he can just Dark Swarm and sandbag this choke point and make it too hard for Ssak to shove down into that location. This is so rough for Ssak. He came so close, but so far, but in the end, saying it's not going to matter because he's going to be eliminated from this finals match, it looks like.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time now. Action getting out here on top of these forces, shutting down this attack here. Ssak is completely mined out in his natural, and he's going for one final push across the map, but Action is absolutely everywhere. He's got lurkers everywhere. He's got defilers everywhere. He's got the Niduses set up now, and he's surrounding this army, killing off these last few tanks. A final desperate push from Ssak is making its way into the natural, but when this gets cleaned up, it's gotta be the end, guys. Dark Swarm here. Lurker under Dark Swarm, and everything gets pushed back once again. Sieges up those tanks. Another rally coming forward for Ssak. Another tank down here on the bottom side. More Scourge coming forward. Great target fire there from Ssak, but the writing is on the wall. His supply has now been eclipsed by Action, who's firing back now, going across the map to do some counter-attacking. There's a big plague there as well. I hope you like ketchup, Ssak, because you're being completely doused in it. That's the last mining base, and there it is. He takes him down. Action makes his way through into the round of 16. Dude, what a comeback.
What a comeback. The writing was on the wall. The letters have finally fallen. Very superstitious indeed. Action is just an absolute monster of a player. He does sometimes have frustrating group stages and getting knocked out. Like we saw how close it came because he's just so deflated and slumped in his chair. How did I let the sand slip through my fingers? I don't even know how he managed to botch that one, but Action just played out of his mind. Wow. The fact that he kept online with the upgrade curve of the game during all of those shenanigans and having to be forced onto 2 bases for so long, he just barely crippled the economy of Ssak enough to make the position tenable and kept online and shutting down those drop ships over and over again. What an impressive performance from Action.
You know what this reminds me of? This is like, Wolverine's superpower in the Marvel universe is to be at 100% HP, and Deadpool He has a similar power, but he's always at 1% HP. He's like about to die at every given moment. It's like Action was Deadpool in this game. He was just so close to death, but he just couldn't be killed. Oh my God. It's just so impressive the way he's able to hang on at about 60 supply for I don't even know how long, dude. He was at 60 supply for full minutes in this game and still managed to hold on. I would say about like 5, maybe 10 minutes. I'd love to get a count on that to actually see how long he was at such a low kind of desperation level of supply, and he stayed alive. He broke all of these pushes, and he came in with some great angles on these defilers, hitting from all sides over and over again. We're getting a little replay here of just the genius of Action's attacks, and his ability to break these pushes is absolutely unmatched. So excited to have this guy in the round of 16, Xun.
Yeah, seriously, as soon as he gets the defilers out and the Nihilus canals, he is the best in the business at doing it. And controlling defilers is so hard to do, guys. That's why Crazy Zerg is such a favored style. It just simplifies the game state. So impressive stuff. Ssak tried to decapitate him with his titanium claws poking out of his knuckles. But I mean, unless you dice up Deadpool into 1,000 pieces, he's going to regenerate and annoy the hell out of you.
Wow. What else to say, Xun? Action just barely scraping through here. Ssak had a great performance, though, really playing very, very well tonight. And he had an awesome run through the qualifiers as well, taking out Light. So I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of here. He played really, really well. And I hope we're going to see him make it through to the round of 16 next year, but not this time, baby. Action makes it through, and we got another Zerg player in the round of 16. That's something to celebrate as well.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. And to be fair, like Ssak and Terran fans out there, don't be disheartened. That was a great performance from Ssak. If you're going to get eliminated from a group, you want to get eliminated like that. I mean, that's a pretty strong showing, especially for losing. So hopefully we'll see him come back in the next ASL and have some more great attempts at breaking through to the round of 16. I'm so happy that Action didn't get eliminated, though. He's had some seriously bad luck in the group stages in previous ASLs. It's a real treat to get this guy into the round of 16, where best of 3 becomes a real format and a way of keeping you in the tournament despite some bad shenanigans kind of going the opponent's way.
I would have felt so bad for Action if he had lost with the lurker egg misplaced on the ramp, dude. That would have been a heartbreaker. Really happy for him that he managed to bring that one back, because he would have been kicking himself after losing a game like that. We've seen several ASL Zerg players get kicked out of the biggest tournament in the world for a mistake like that. Misplacing your egg on the ramp, it happens to the best of them, and it happens more often than you might think.
Yeah. I'm super excited to see what the group selections are going to be like, and so we know exactly how this round of 16 might pan out. It can be super fun as well to see the shenanigans and the smack talking between the players. But pretty much everyone in the round of 16 deserves to be there. They're playing out of their minds, guys. Like, Ssak played so well, and Action still managed to win. Every single guy that's broken through is playing out of their mind. Even Scan is playing at 100% of his power level. Super stoked to see who we're going to be having in the group selection now.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, guys, watching that group selection. We will not be streaming that live or anything. I don't have plans to do so anyway. I think Tastosis will come out with that a few days afterwards with the full translation and stuff. So I'll definitely be checking that out. You guys should too. And we'll be back, not next week, but the week after. Although I do have a big announcement here, guys. On this channel, the Soup Duel series will be returning coming up this weekend, and we'll be going straight through that week of downtime in the ASL. That'll be a lot of fun, guys. Best of 7s for $500, that prize pool every single day. Should be a great series, so I look forward to seeing you guys there. Make sure to follow the channel here, SCTVEN on Soup. You guys can join in on the fun. It'll also be uploaded, the VODs, onto my channel. KCM, Saiyan KCM on YouTube as well.
Yeah, please check that out, guys, and support us here on the StarCastTV Patreon. We really do need your guys' support to keep the lights on and keep things going. Times are changing. There's a new golden era ushering in. The Earth's core is spinning in the other direction. Things are going to get all kinds of crazy up in here, guys. Please stay tuned. We'll be so looking forward to bringing you guys this round of 16 in a couple of weeks. So don't go anywhere. Prepare for that. Check out the Tastosis cast for the translations. I'm sure the group selection will be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, there's a lot of great personalities in there. It'll be a whole lot of fun. It's not going to be the same without Shuttle, but it's still a great little show in between the weeks. And check out the SDS next week, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for the round of 16.
Thanks, guys.